So I switched up. Before I always imagined acythrial, or no. Before I always imagined Larry as a humanoid, just like with a tail, just like how a furry would draw a fucking lizard, I guess. And Now it's completely shifted. I thought um about his race and his planet and what I wanted it to look like and everything. Fleshed him out a lot more today. That's what I spent like all of today doing, which is a bit retarded, but that's what fucking Adderall does to me. It makes it where I think about one character's design, and I literally fucking pace back and forth thinking about that for 7 hours instead of thinking about anything else. But it is good. I do think I got his design into a fucking like, wow, that's some peak sci-fi shit right there. So, okay, so imagine a middle finger. Okay, so now imagine that you take that middle finger and you make it as tall as a human being. Okay. Give it, you know what I mean, another double or triple the amount of joints it has, right? So you know what I mean? So you've got like a middle finger, a giant human-sized middle finger with like 9 joints, right? So it works kind of like a snake, but it's not muscles, it's joints. So it's a bit more, it looks a bit more mechanical, it looks a bit more stiff. But it's also a lot larger than the average snake and a lot more consistent. And so
How
you've
large
got
is it? And it stands upright?
yeah, if you were to stand it upright, it would be taller than a human, just a little bit taller than a human. I would imagine like maybe 1 or 2 heads taller than like me. I was about what I'm thinking right now. But so okay, so you have 9 jointed. We'll just say 9 for now. I don't really know how many joints, but the point is, imagine you have 9 joints. Um, and it's a human-sized thing. Actually, I guess don't even imagine the middle finger. Imagine the pinky upside down because it gets a little bit smaller as it goes down, but not that much. It stays relatively consistent, getting a little bit smaller as it goes down. So a series of joints. You honestly, you can imagine it as a spine or a finger,
So
however
it
you want. Just
stands on a smaller thing?
no, I'll get into its standing and everything. So okay, so you have um, basically a snake with a spine or a giant human-sized middle finger. It's about what we're working with here.
Right.
And so now imagine that with 6 arms. Okay, so you've got 6 other fingers. Because they aren't arms, they're not like human arms, obviously. They're also it's like a stick bug, right? Imagine a stick bug if instead of a stick bug having just like um 2 articulations, because like whenever I've seen a stick bug, typically they have like an elbow, right? But that's the only bending point in their arm. So now imagine a stick bug if they had like 4 elbows, right? So they've got a really weird, bizarre, hyper mobile, um, fucking finger arm, right?
Uh-huh.
And so it's got no fingers. Now what we're kicking with is we have a giant middle finger that at 3 different joints has 3 quote unquote arms, or really just other middle fingers. So it's a giant middle finger with 3 sets of other middle fingers emerging from joints. And so the set of arms that is the highest up, if it was standing upright, is by far the longest. They are extremely long, longer than even legs are on humans. They're very, very long. And then the next set of
So
arms
is it,
is
we're
about,
kind of it's kind of like looking like a praying mantis.
yeah, kind of. A praying mantis is probably the closest thing so far, yes. And um, so yes, okay, so basically, um, imagine a praying mantis, but now imagine its front set of arms are like huge, like ridiculously long, like granddaddy long leg long almost. Probably a little bit smaller than that, but like massive arms proportional to the entity. Big, thin, spindly arms. And then so the next set is about human proportionate, if not a little bit longer. And then the last set, the lowest set, is less than human proportional, small arms, right? So as you each set going down gets a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller, until the first one's about double or triple the average length of a human arm. The second one's about a human arm, and then the last one would be like 2/3 of a human arm, something like that. That's just roughly. So, anyways, the point is that you now have a giant middle finger, human-sized middle finger, with three sets of middle fingers coming off of it, and it's like you were saying, praying mantis. But now imagine instead of a praying mantis which stands on all six legs, imagine this thing. It it, it it's Well, first of all, it's built to snake around. So, like the spine, on a praying mantis, it's just its body. On this thing, it's like a snake with praying mantis legs, right? So it's built to slither, but then also it can use its legs to climb up things. It can use its legs to kill
What
things. It
does
can
it
use
do
its
with
legs.
its legs whenever it slithers? Is it like
I'm, I'm
retract
gonna,
them?
I'm gonna, I'm going to get into that. So now you have this. You have middle finger, three sets of middle fingers. Now I'm gonna go into the detail on the head. Okay, so the head looks like roughly, let me think, a wolf, I think, or an alligator is probably the two closest things that come to mind first. But now imagine, so the first thing I imagined was like a wolf mouth with every single tooth being a saber-toothed tiger tooth. You know how like you'll see images of like giant sharks or other underwater creatures, and they'll have like teeth that are so large that they protrude out of the mouth. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
giant saber-toothed teeth.
Like an
Yes.
alligator.
Yeah, well, yeah, yes, kind of like an alligator, except the difference is that an alligator's would still have its teeth between the jaws when its mouth is closed. But what I'm talking about is those fish and sharks and stuff that will literally they'll close their mouth and then the teeth will come up and around their face and their head. Like
But
the teeth are literally
look up
so
a
big.
gharial. Gharial. It's one of the coolest looking alligators I think exists.
Oh yeah, kind of like that, but just make each tooth bigger. But
Right.
pretty much, yes, that's pretty much what it is. If just each tooth was about double as long, that was my inspiration. That was the first thing I thought of. And so now, okay, so now imagine that thing you said. Imagine a gharial, okay? But now imagine a gharial had four jaws. Okay. So it's got its eyes sitting up top, and then it's got a front, bottom, left, and right jaw. And whenever the mouth closes, it's going to look like a rectangle with teeth protruding from every side. So the teeth are spaced in a manner in which it can close its mouth, and each individual tooth will be bigger than the jaws when closed. So they'll be sticking up through each side, but the thing can still close. So like all four sides can compact together, and then you'll just see it'll be like a fucking baseball bat with nails driven through it. It's basically what it'll look like.
You've created a perfect design that I don't think an AI generator can capture.
Yeah, yeah. Not just that, but something that I've shockingly never heard before. I tried to look up images. I couldn't even find fucking images on that. But that sounds like a pretty like kind of obvious thing. Like okay, anyways. So imagine now well, okay, what is the find the snake. Look for this as well. Snake with three horns. It's a very common snake. I've seen it frequently, even when not looking for it. But it's like, you know that ring you have where it's got like a spike that comes back?
Yeah. It's what do you call here? Rhinoceros viper is what the first thing that pops up.
Rhino viper. Yes, I think this is it. Um, God, no good pictures. Not quite. Not quite. So you know that ring you have where like it's like a spike that goes backwards.
Silver.
What is it?
It's silver.
Yes, silver.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
spike. Assassin's Creed weapon or whatever. That thing. So imagine if that. Wait, does yours have three or is it one spike? I can't remember.
It's
Does it
two
have
short
three
ones on the
prongs?
side and then one long one down the middle.
Yeah, okay, so exactly like that. That's exactly what this one is. Except they're all the same size. It's not one long one down the middle. It's just that it's so the head shape is I'm sure I've seen a dragon or a snake which matches this description. I can't imagine I just made this up entirely. I swear to God, there was a picture in my head of something that I'd seen multiple times before that came to mind. I don't know if it was a fucking Harry Potter dragon or an actual snake or fake snake. I don't know what it was, but I swear to God, I've seen that exact design. It's a snake's head, but then it's like a three-pronged thing. There's just like three backward spikes which come out, each with a slight tilt. slight banana arc, right? And then there's the mouth, which comes in the middle of all three spikes. You have like a top, left, and right. But so yeah, I swear I've seen that before. But so, anyways, you can imagine that. Imagine your ring, and now imagine it's three-sided. It's got like the front, it's got the top, left, and right, and each of them are the exact same size, and they're all just like that. They've got that
And they're all
bend
going
in the middle.
backwards to the back of the head.
Yes, yes.
And they're
Like
all
a
even, like Wolverine claws.
yeah, kind of like Wolverine claws, I guess you could say. Yeah. They're not metal. That they're a big fat purple crystal. They are
And so the
sharpened.
rest of it is it green?
No, the rest of it is black. It's got black skin. Black. I will get into that.
Or so,
So
so this new character design is a black and purple design. We just want to preface that.
oh, absolutely. You already knew it was going to be black and purple based on the
Of
second I
course, of
started
course.
talking about it. But so yeah, so okay, so Jesus, this design is so complex. You'll be able to tell I spent 7 hours on it after I'm done describing it. Okay, so now we have a. Okay, we'll just go back to your alligator. Whatever. Don't even imagine a snake. Just imagine your alligator. What is it called? What is it?
Gariel.
Gharial. Okay. So now imagine just a gharial. We've got a gharial, and now imagine the gharial has your ring, but evenly on the back of its head. So like where you see the gharial's eyes, they sort of protrude out of the top. Imagine that there's a big spike, a big ring spike that comes directly between both of those eyes, and then directly off of both sides of the jaws. And then imagine that the jaws are a giant rectangle of teeth, with nails sticking through at the specific points where the jaws don't touch, right? So it's like a baseball bat if you only hammered in like a up and down row and then a left and right row on all four sides of the baseball bat. You understand what I'm saying?
Um, say that one more
So
time.
like So, like, in other words, just imagine the gharial's mouth, but now imagine the gharial has four sides and it closes it, and the teeth are bigger than any of the individual sides of the mouth. So, in the same way, a saber-toothed tiger can have its mouth closed, but it's got two giant teeth sticking out of its jaws and going
Yeah.
past the bottom of the mouth. Every single tooth in the mouth of the gharial is like that. So, it's like every single tooth is a saber-toothed tiger tooth, but it's got four jaws, and when the jaws close, the teeth come out of the gaps between each jaw touching.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so now imagine that those teeth are not saber-tooth tiger shaped. Okay, they're only saber-tooth tiger like in the way they protrude out of the jaw. The way they're shaped, however, is more like a shark tooth, where they're like directly triagonal, but it's also the crystal. It is also a purple crystal that becomes white the thinner it gets. So at the bottom, at the base of a tooth, it'll be a triangle, and then you'll see as it gets longer and thinner into
It looks kind of like an
a middle.
amethyst.
Yeah, yeah. But so it's like a shark tooth. Imagine a shark tooth if it was we'll say diamond because that was the initial thing I thought of, like a purple diamond, because I want it to be an unbelievably hard material. I'll get more into that later. But so what that allows it to do is it allows the teeth to not be thick at the top. They become needles, right? So each individual tooth starts as like a shark's triangular purple crystal, and then as it gets thinner and thinner, it becomes whiter and whiter. And at the top, it's like a straight up like a COVID needle, a fucking syringe needle, right? Like it's extremely small, extremely thin, and extremely sharp, and it's
So how
basically
long, like
unbreakable.
how big would it be?
So so because the thing's human size, I'm gonna say imagine each individual tooth is probably about the size of a middle finger, maybe a little longer. Um, yeah, maybe like a middle finger and a half, maybe at the longest, probably. But so anyways, so, okay, Jesus, the thing is so complicated. Okay, so now it's got a bunch of these because you got to think each individual tooth is so small. It starts as like a double the size of a shark tooth and then works its way into a syringe. So it can fit a ton of these teeth in a giant mouth, right? A gharial mouth, right? So now imagine a gharial, and now imagine it's got the three-pronged head of your ring, and then it's also got four jaws, and then on those jaws there are teeth which are giant pointy crystal teeth. Okay, big long pointed syringe teeth that at the bottom are triangular. So when you get pierced by the needle, and then as the needle works its way deeper and deeper into you, it'll eventually spread out into a giant triangle, and it'll cut you open the same way like a giant knife would. But at the end, it's so small and unbreakable and like narrow that it is ridiculously armor piercing, right? Like like in the same way that like a spear can pierce through like the plates of armor in a way like a sword typically couldn't, especially not like a warhammer or anything, right? That's what these teeth are going to do in comparison to a normal tooth. They're like ridiculously precise with the amount of power placement. Whenever the jaw is clenched down, um it's like horrific because it's like that needle can pierce through like almost anything, and then as it works its way farther and farther in, it becomes larger and larger until you get to the base, which is just a straight up tooth, big, if anything, large sized average tooth. So as you can imagine, that is an extremely deadly thing. As you can imagine, just being a human being, seeing what I've set up already is fucking bizarre and terrifying. A gharial with a snake praying mantis body, four jaws, and giant needled sharp teeth. Like already we're in terrifying. We're absolutely terrifying. Um
And I'm assuming its eyes are purple.
so we'll get more into that. Okay, so the the what do I want to explain next? Let me think for a second.
So
Okay, so I'll just
in the meantime, if you just want to look at this, if you want to like maybe just compare this and tell me what's similar and what is different. I just generated this a second
what
ago
do you think?
on Discord.
Huh. Obviously none of it's correct really, but it's interesting that we can even develop something like that quickly.
Yeah, just to get that visual reference. If we
But
had this
so
10 years ago.
so obviously so basically you see on that image that you've generated, it's got like a second set of arms, but
Yeah.
that are like that are attached to its primary pair of arms. You see the like giant purple like daggers basically.
Uh-huh.
So imagine those emerge out of every joint. Okay. So at every articulation point, at every joint in the finger or at every joint in the spine, right, you're going to have one of those arching backwards to cover it. Okay. So the joints are going to be an extreme weak point on these creatures because the bones that make up the joints are made up out of the crystals. The crystals are relatively unbreakable. They're really not a concern. However, the thing that moves in the middle of those crystals, the actual joint, that is very um not even fragile, but like it is extremely fragile compared to the bones, right? Like that is that if you're trying to destroy this thing, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start breaking the joints and disabling different parts of it. Um, and so
As in, so to aim for the black part and not the purple part.
no, as in you're going to want to aim for it's not even necessarily be purple because in other words the bones, like you know how Wolverine's bones are made out of adamantium, this
Yeah.
thing's bones, this thing's joints, everything except the very middle of the joint, the thing which moves, but all the bones which go to connect the joints, right, all of that is made up out of this crystal. So you don't
Okay.
even see purple until you get that spike that protrudes backwards out and over the joint. So like in the same way you would have like I don't know. I feel like I've seen like plate mail armor, which has like an elbow spike, right? Like Daedric armor or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But imagine the practical use for that is that you're covering up your elbow because the joint in your elbow is your weakest point. So you want armor over it, and so you also want to be able to collapse that arm. So it would take this shape. It would take that sort of curved shape that makes it where the arm can lay flat, and then that will just uh uh wrap around the arm. There's a better word for what I'm trying to say. It will sort of just mold to that shape of a
Yeah, so
relaxed arm.
would you say there was four of them? There's four individual sections, and each of them are one giant spike going across, intersecting like all of them.
What is it? A spike? Well, wait, so what repeat what you said in more detail, I guess.
I guess as you were saying, imagine like the elbow armor. You have like the elbow armor spike going forwards, and you have another plate of armor going inside of that, and then you have the spike going forwards, and you have another one inside of that up until you reach the body. Um, right?
Not exactly. Just the only thing you said was wrong was they don't touch each other typically, because I think that would prevent farther articulation. I don't like, in other words, it's not like the whole arm is going to be covered in plate mail based on the spikes. It's more like, honestly, I probably said, I don't know how many articulations I said were in each arm, but really, it's probably just like three. I want their arms to be like a big finger. I don't want it to be like super snaky. I don't want it to be like super liquidy, but I want it to be like more mobile than a typical arm. So like, I mean, I guess just like imagine an arm with two elbows. That's basically the gist. But now imagine each elbow has a crystal spike coming back up covering it.
Yeah.
So I guess this is the best way to imagine it. Imagine your ring, but imagine if you wore it above your knuckle, right? So if you wore that ring above your knuckle on your middle finger, then and I tried to like karate chop your knuckle, well then I would of course just hit the ring because you'd have a giant spike moving backward that goes out over your knuckle. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hello?
Oh yeah. Uh, I said yeah. I'm trying to draw it. Pretty sure I get the idea.
So yeah. Yeah, I should probably be drawing these things shittily. Okay, where whoa, what the fuck? Okay, hello?
Hello.
What the fuck? Speak?
What? I will speak.
Can you hear that?
No, I don't hear anything.
What is it?
I don't hear anything other than you talking.
Interesting. Okay, well that'll work as a placeholder. You are coming through over that shitty like security camera TV. That's the speaker that you're coming through, and it is hilarious. It's like one of those ear rape memes where it's like literally breaking every single like 5 times a word. It is hilarious. Um, but so anyways,
Is that just going to continue for the rest of the conversation?
what'd you say?
That's just going to continue for the rest of the conversation.
Damn. Oh, say what you said again.
Am I still like that?
You will. It's not your fault. It's the TV monitor's fault. It won't. You can't do anything on your end to fix it. I just switched back to my phone. Until I get this set up. Um, are you calling me from your phone right now?
Yeah.
Okay, call me on Snapchat, and then, well, fuck. So here's the thing. I want. God damn it. I could just better speaker. I want to be able to show you my PC screen, which would require us calling on Discord on my PC. But I don't have a good speaker to hear you through on my PC. I would just connect my headphones, but they're dead.
Um.
Charger. Okay, okay. Here's the thing. Take your hand. Take your own hand. Take your thumb and your pinky and place your. Okay, so okay. Some of these instructions are going to be retarded and unnecessary, but they're going to make sure I know you're getting the right idea without seeing you. Okay, take your elbow and cover your own mouth. That has nothing to really do with the idea, but it's
Say
just
what?
I'm just gonna that just makes you. What is it?
Say again.
Take your elbow, cover your own mouth, like my guard kind of, but
Oh yeah.
isolated entirely the mouth. So just take your elbow and then just put it over your mouth. That's it. So now you've got your elbow pointing outwards. Now take your other hand, not the elbow hand, but the other hand, and then cover your elbow. Right? Cover your elbow with your hand, and then point your fingers straight out. So your palm should be right above your elbow, closer to your hand than your shoulder. And then your fingers should be coming out over your elbow. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Are my fingers facing the sky or my face?
Your fingers would be facing the direction of your shoulder, whereas your palm would be connecting above your elbow, closer to your hand. So you have
So they're
two sides of
going
your
to the
arm.
right of me.
You have the shoulder side of your arm and then the hand side of your arm. The palm should be touching on the hand side of your arm. The
Yeah.
fingers should be going over towards the shoulder part of your arm, but not
All
touching.
right.
Okay, so now do you see what I'm talking about? That basically just imagine that, but now imagine you have two elbows in your arm. That's basically what we're talking about here.
For what? What on earth are we talking about?
Okay, that's the purple crystal joint covers.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I do get it. Yes.
Okay, so now imagine, so you've got like the 9 or 6 joints or however many joints are in the back. I'll call that the spine. So you've got the spine and then you've got the arms, but really understand they're both made out of the same joints, right? There really is no difference between the spine and the arms. They're the exact same joint, finger, fucking weird contraption shit. It's just that the spine is going to be the middle and the arms are going to be the ones on side. So on the spine also has joint covers, the same spike joint covers, the exact same ones. So it isn't just elbow covers. It isn't just that you have those spikes over both elbows. It is also that you have those spikes over every single articulation in the spine as well. So okay, so now imagine you have your fucking you got your gharial on your praying mantis body, okay? And now imagine the praying mantis body has 3 different sizes of arm sets. It's got the smallest at the bottom, middle in the middle, and the largest at the top of the body. It's got the gharial head with 4 jaws, needle teeth, and the same material, the same purple crystal which makes up the teeth, is also making up the bones of the praying mantis body and the joint covers, the spike joint covers that come out over each individual joint. So we've got a giant praying mantis alligator with spikes coming back over each articulation. So it's got purple spikes, about 9 or 6 purple spikes along its back, and then it's got about 2 purple spikes or 3 purple spikes for each arm. Okay, and now Jesus, we're not even in the most complex parts yet. Okay, so now imagine that this weird stick bug creature has an inflatable stomach. Imagine that its skin, the black skin, which is what you see at every point, which is not a spike. Imagine that skin is inflatable. Like if you were to put a hose in its mouth and then or a bike pump in its mouth and then start inflating, that you would literally that black skin would become transparent as it inflated in the exact same way a balloon would. It's literally like fucking latex. It's literally
You
balloon
said
material.
you said
Okay,
you didn't want to invoke the furries, but you've really crossed the line this time.
that's not the furries. I'm going straight pyrocynical on this one. Going straight inflation. Um, but so yeah. So it's got an inflatable stomach. Okay. So now, yeah, dude, I don't even know if the furries could jack off to this one. We're getting we're getting into insane territory. I don't even know if a furry could draw this shit. So anyways, so you have so spine with finger arms, and then I'm gonna call these tips. Okay. Imagine the cross between a finger and a tooth imagine you had teeth instead of fingernails. Okay? And now imagine they were the same kind of teeth that we talked about already. So imagine you have just look at your finger. Just point your index finger out. And now imagine that your nail was a shark tooth. So it's pretty much the same. It's just you have a harder fingernail and it's triangular. Now imagine that fingernail turned into a syringe. So you've got a regular finger, but it's got a shark tooth that whittles down into a syringe. You have an extremely long, sharp, triangular fingernail now. You get what I'm saying? You get that? Any
Yeah, like
questions?
giant razor sharp claws.
Not exactly giant razor sharp claws because
Oh,
it's still a regular finger. Well, yeah. I see what you mean. Yes. Giant razor sharp claws at the end of each finger. But it's not that each finger is a claw. It's just that at the fingernail of each finger,
well,
that's where the claw
look at the
is.
image. That has like a black tip of the finger goes into a sharp claws. That's sort of what we're dealing with.
Um,
Of the top arms, one of them's curved, but the bottom one's straight.
or wait, so which finger are you talking about?
So like the top ones, like on the top arms, on the bottom finger, um, the one that's not curved, uh, it's just like a straight line, like it's the finger and then it goes up into the claw.
Basically, you're talking about the fingers with the purple crystals, right? But you're talking about before the purple crystals turn into the claws?
Well, I'm saying the ones above that,
The ones above that. So you
the
mean
black
the
ones.
like the primary hands.
Yeah. So just imagine if that was instead of black, it was purple.
So basically, not exactly. Imagine if it looked exactly like it did, but then you notice how on the primary hands you have a top and bottom finger. So the top finger on both primary hands is um how would I even explain that? Like the shape of the letter P, like it's got a curl
Yeah, it's
at the end.
curved.
Yeah, okay. So not those. Ignore those fingers.
Yeah.
Look at the ones below that. So the
Right.
bottom
Yeah, that's what I was
said
saying.
finger. Now, okay, but now the only thing that you change is that it looks exactly like it does now, but just the end part is purple crystal, just like the fingers below it, and that's just the fingernail. So it's like a normal finger. The black part's the normal finger, and then where that becomes sharp, where you see it start to become sharp, that is now purple crystal because the fingernails are made out of the same crystals the teeth are. They literally are the teeth. So basically, imagine that finger that you see right there, the finger that you said, and now just imagine that it's got a crystal tooth fingernail, and that is purple. And so just basically color shift the end of that finger into purple, and you
Yeah.
basically have what we're talking about. So Jesus. Okay, so that is called a tip. I'm gonna call that a tip, right? It's kind of the mixture between like a tooth and a fingertip. Um, basically, it's like so. Well, it's got different uses. So now, Jesus, each arm has three tips on each side. So each arm has six tips, is what I should have said. Each arm has six tips. It's got three on the left and three on the right, or really up and down. So okay, stick your arm out straight. Put your fingers in a karate chop. So now you have a straight arm out to like your left, if it's your left arm, or right to your right arm, just like straight out in that direction. So like it's at your side, and then you just pick it straight up from there on the hinge, on the shoulder hinge. So now if it's my left arm is pointing straight left with all of the fingers also up and down pointing left. It's a karate chop, straight up and down karate chop at the end of a straight arm. Okay. Now imagine that you didn't have any fingers. Weld all your fingers together. So now you just have a giant finger coming out from your shoulder, right? You have your shoulder, and then because you have no fingers and all the fingers are welded together in a karate chop thing, you just have a giant finger now,
Correct.
right? Okay, so that is what this guy's working with. But now imagine you have, now we're adding the fingers, but we're adding the fingers to the side of your welded together fingers right now. So now imagine that your quote unquote hands, which are now just like just like another part of the finger. There's like a fingertip, basically, right? Imagine that your hands, your welded together, solid one hand with no fingers, now has 3 fingers coming off of the top and bottom. Okay? So you've got that karate chop up and down, straight up and down karate chop. And then from that karate chop, imagine you've got 3 fingers on both the top and bottom. So basically, where your thumb and your pinky are right now, obliterate your thumb. Imagine the thumb does not exist. And so now your index finger and your pinky, those should be the 2 sides of this new finger arm thing.
Yeah.
And now on the pinky and the index finger, you're going to have 3 fingers coming out. So basically,
So on
here's the
each of
best way
them
to
you have 6 fingers.
uh, correct.
And
Each
are
arm
they
has
distinctly 2 sets of 3 and not like 6 in a row?
it is distinctly 2 sets of 3 because it's
So there's a
one on
little
the
space in the
top
middle,
and
a little
one on
gap.
well, not even a little gap. It's that like so you have so basically imagine your index fingers joints are transformed into fingers and your pinky's joints are transformed into fingers. Um like in the opposite direction of the way your fingers are. So like your fingers typically, if you were to Sieg Heil, right? Typically your fingers would point forward, but now if you were to Sieg Heil as this bug guy, then your fingers would be pointing left and right, both. You would have 2 sets of fingers, and each set of fingers would be pointing one of those directions respectively. You understand?
I got a basic idea of that.
Okay.
I'd love to see that drawn.
Okay. Okay. So the best way to imagine this, Sieg Heil. Okay, you're
You
canceled.
got it,
It's over.
dude.
So now, okay. So Sieg Heil, and then now imagine your pinky. Now you've got a sideways finger coming out of each joint. Okay. So now imagine if your pinky, the
It's
joint which like
forking off.
near
It's like splitting off like a trident.
it's directly left and directly right. It's literally like if your hand, you didn't like all of the fingers that were there right now were just like arm, like they were no different from the rest of your arm. And then where we have forward fingers, they have left and right fingers. Like their hand is not like it's not like 5 fingers at the end of an arm. It's like an arm that at the end of the left and right of each arm, you have 3 fingers. You understand?
So okay. So the one, let's say you end the Sieg Heil, you bring your arm up to your face. Um, so one of them is facing towards you, and then one is not facing towards you. One is facing the opposite way.
Okay, no, here's the best way to explain it. Take your 3 middle fingers on your right hand. Now, take those 3 middle fingers and align the middle joint of each finger on your right hand with the pinky on your left hand. Now, you should have the index, middle, and whatever the fuck the other finger is, each with their knuckle, their middle joint on a joint of the pinky. Do you have that?
Say again.
Okay. Middle joint, middle fingers, right hand. Can you find that? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
The middle joint of my middle finger, or
Nope.
the middle
Middle joint,
finger. So like,
middle 3 fingers.
oh,
So
not including the
the so
pinky.
not including the thumb or the pinky. Every
Okay,
finger
yes, I see.
except the thumb or the pinky. Yes. Okay. So now take those 3 fingers, and now the middle joint would be like the one that's right above the knuckles, right? So that middle joint, you're now going to place it over your left hand pinky. So Sieg Heil with your left hand, and then take your 3 middle fingers on your right hand and align the middle joints of each finger with the joints on your pinky. Do you now have this like
And now that it's going the
sideways?
opposite way, so it's creating like a cross.
Yes, it's precisely. It's creating a cross. So now imagine that the pinky was never separate from the rest of the hand, and that the only fingers that were ever there are these new sideways fingers. Like you just have those on each side.
Okay. Do they have the joints accurate to mine? Which way it would go backwards, or does it? So I've got 3 digits in between my ring finger and pinky finger, and it's going out. But would if I close my fingers, it wraps around my other three fingers. Is that accurate to this body, or would it go the other way?
So I think that this creature is going to be its joints are going to be perfectly reversible. So
Or
in other words,
either
I
way.
don't that yes, I think the hands can clasp around either way. Um,
Okay.
yeah. Really, the way I should have explained that from the beginning was get a gable grip and now fold your pinky in and now just have that on both the left and right side of your hand. That would have been much easier, but I didn't think of that at first. Anyways, um, so that is what that's what we're dealing with here. It's like an arm which slowly gets thinner until you have something which kind of looks like a hand, and then off of that kind of hand, you have three fingers on both the left and right side. Um, so uh, that is the arm. That's how the arms work. Oh, and then also you got to remember the fingernail thing. It's got these bizarre long pointy fingernails. So as you can imagine, it could climb a tree like a motherfucker. Because it's got like 6 needles that can pierce through a tree that also suspend its entire body weight on each arm, and it's got 6 arms. So like just imagine how like demonically quickly that thing could climb up a tree. Like it wouldn't even look like its arms are touching it. You would just get like the needles of the fingers digging into the tree and like propelling it upwards at like a million miles an hour. Like this is a terrifying creature that could honestly crawl in pretty much any ceiling you can think of. Right, like even a concrete ceiling. Well, its diamond needles are going to be able to pierce through that. So like it's going to be able to crawl on a ceiling like a spider would, but it's huge. It's gonna look like a giant fucking praying mantis
Does
alligator
any of
human
it
size.
glow? Does any of the purple glow, or is that like
No,
non-radiant?
no, it's non-radiant. But so okay, so Jesus. So these tips are important because now we're gonna go a step farther. These tips are not just on the end of each hand. These tips are every tooth. Go back to the alligator mouth. Okay. Imagine the the gharial. Imagine the gharial. Now imagine it's got these saber tooth teeth. But now imagine that instead of saber tooth teeth, you have saber tooth fingers with teeth as the fingernails. So it can still bite you. It can still eat you alive. It can still consume you, but it can also like shove you down its throat with articulated teeth. Like it can like reach out and
They're like
it can open
mandibles
its
of like an
mouth.
insect.
Yeah, it's like a million, not a million, like probably like 500 or maybe like 100, something like that. About like 100 razor sharp needles that can be articulated to reach out, grab, and tear. Like fucking horrifying. Absolutely fucking horrifying. And so now you have that, and now imagine that black skin, that balloon skin. Imagine that you have that around the rectangle. So where before you had saber tooth teeth and they were exposed and they were coming out of the sides, now you have skin there. And now the obvious question is, well, then how the fuck can you see the teeth? Right? That doesn't make any sense. If you have skin that is covering all 4 sides of the jaw, then how are you going to have exposed teeth coming out of the weak points of the jaw? And the answer is it doesn't feel the skin. It's not just inflatable. It's also, imagine like your earlobe. Now imagine if your earlobe was a bit stretchier, and now imagine that's all of its skin. So it doesn't feel any of it. And basically, in the same way where you don't really feel an ear being pierced, it doesn't really feel the needles going through its own cheeks, right? If you want to say cheeks, it's got like, but instead of it doesn't have like a left cheek and a right cheek, right? It would have just one big circular cheek wrapping the rectangle of teeth,
But
and
like,
then you would have
why does it do that?
we'll go into that. So okay, okay, so you have now you have a gharial mouth, but the gharial mouth is four-sided and it's also covered in skin. It's a giant skin tube that can be opened, and when forced open, it can be forced open extremely wide, and when forced open, all of that cheek skin will just stretch, right? So it will stretch and then snap back in the way, like, you know what I mean, we would imagine biting, right? This thing can achieve like elastic rubber band snap bites. But
Lloyd,
not
so
just that.
look up a praying mantis mouth and compare it to that because it's interestingly, it's got the mandibles and a retracting mouth.
I don't even understand these diagrams.
I'm not looking at diagrams. I'm looking at images of the insect.
Well, that um basically, yeah, kind of. Just imagine that. Hold on, let me send a particular image. Do you see the one that says, "How does a praying mantis mouth work?" From Quora.
No.
I'll send it here. But honestly, yeah, praying mantis is a really good starter. Really, I should have been using praying mantis the whole time. It wasn't even the bug I was thinking of when I was creating this thing. The only I started with a snake, because obviously he's a lizard. And then I moved to Really, I guess I didn't move off of that. I guess it was kind of just snake was my only inspiration. Um, yeah, because I didn't even think of any insects actually, because I didn't want him to be very insect-like, because we already have the insect aliens he's gonna be fighting. But um,
But would
I
he
was
still have the
imagining
like
more.
black lizard scales that would still be prominent?
No, no scales. Well, there is one place I was thinking about scales. I don't know about that yet. Um, okay. So, anyways, so uh, no, I think you could go scales actually. That would be interesting. I don't know why. The scales would have to be purple, so I don't know how you'd do that. Um,
So what would the black skin be otherwise?
the well, uh, what do you mean? Well,
Like
I'm sorry, the
what
black skin.
material is it made out of?
I already said it's like latex flesh. It's literally balloon. The black skin is the balloon material. It's the one that's capable of expanding. The cheek material is the exact same thing as the entire body is covered in.
Uh-huh. So kind of like
But
a
so
symbiote sort of dealio. Not exactly, not gooey, but like similar.
yeah, yeah, kind of like a symbiote. If a symbiote was a bit more skinny, a bit more biological, because it is like skin. Like you can rip it like skin, and that isn't great, but it's also not terrible because the thing I would say like an earlobe, right? Where like an earlobe isn't really a part of you. I could like
But
put a
like, if
needle
you
through
did
your earlobe.
started ripping it all off, you would find the purple skeleton underneath.
Yeah, yeah. In the same way, if I ripped your back flesh off, I would eventually get down to your bone joints.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, so now I'm gonna start explaining why, because I feel like that's necessary before I explain it anymore. Why it's got all this shit going on. Because I actually imagined before I imagined any of these designs. What's funny is you would think that I retro fucked its purpose in like its design, its ecological niche. You would think I retro added that after making it look as cool as possible, but actually all of the design choices emerged entirely out of my concept for its ecological niche, which is interesting. Um, what I thought was, imagine an alien planet that has an unbelievably hard substance, like just like obsidian or diamond or bedrock, or I mean, however you want to put it. It's this purple crystal that is basically unbreakable, and then it is um it can have a chemical reaction that instantly turns it into um I haven't decided whether I want to go with like a foam or a glass. Like I don't know if I want it to break, shatter, or if I want it to compact. But I know I want it to be. I know the I still don't know exactly why this stuff exists yet. That current idea I'm kind of working with is it's a moss which creates a armor on itself. So like this moss has covered most of the planet, and the moss creates a layer of like diamond armor that will continue to stack and stack, and it's basically like the moss's excrement, right? And so you'll find this in the environment, just like a thick layer of like diamond covering moss which feeds off the ground. And then basically the moss wants to get certain nutrients in but not others. So the that hard
Maybe just
armor.
one idea is maybe it could also be a mushroom.
That's not a bad idea, yeah. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking the enemies. I want them to be like a mushroom. The thing I thought of was the mushroom colony that they had remap the Tokyo subways or Japanese subways or whatever. You ever hear about that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Basically, that's what I was thinking. I want that's exactly the personality of the insects, the insect machine warriors. I want them to have developed technology and still have absolutely no fucking idea that they or the technology exists. Like just straight up like a mushroom colony that's designing a subway that has absolutely no fucking idea that it is even a mushroom or is designing anything at all. You know what I mean? Like it is beyond clueless. It's not even like it views us as like prey or it doesn't understand that we're conscious. It's like it has no
Does that
fucking
indicate
idea of
that
where it is
an
or what it's doing.
intelligence is controlling it to do that?
No, in the same way, like what would you say that a mushroom has an intelligence controlling it? No, you
Well,
wouldn't.
I'm
It's just like no.
saying, it to make the subway, as in it has that purpose. A person did that.
What do you mean? It has
So
that
in
purpose.
the
A person
let's
did
say
that.
in the same analogy that there's a fungus a fungus that's growing on a map and it has a
You
purpose and the
actually
humans
just
did
hit a
that to
badass Among Us.
say it. What is it?
You just hit like an Among Us meme on by
I did.
complete
I just did
accident.
Among
You
Us.
had like a
Um,
neurological
but so in
flashback.
that
Go
analogy,
ahead.
the human is has an experiment to do that as a purpose to create the
No, no,
best subway station.
but but okay, well, yeah, I see what you mean, but no, there is no experimentary here. But what I would say is, in the same way that even if a human set up for that purpose, the mushroom is not doing anything different than it would in its natural environment. Like the mushroom is literally just trying to be a mushroom, and then we put it in a subway, and then it found the most efficient
Right.
way
I'm
through
just
that
wondering,
subway.
is the conquest of other planets is that it doing it on its own accord, or is something making it do that?
No, no, just a complete, it's just complete mushroom. It's the whole, every single thing that it does is a complete mushroom. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no intelligence to it whatsoever. It is completely and totally moving only as like a system. Like that's it. It's just one giant system that's trying to spread out. That's all it understands. That's the only thing it knows.
And
It'll kill
so
all of us and have no clue.
it's like
Go ahead.
they're inspired off of fungus and also insect. Would that also be kind of like a cordyceps vibe of like the zombie ants?
Yeah, probably something like that. But instead, the it's like the cordyceps is like the technology. So it's like you've got these weird mushroom insects with computers growing out of their fucking heads that have taken them over because they've evolved into it. So it's like they've like synthesized themselves with machines before they even figured out they were a thing.
But
It's
so
very
from
fucking
the
cool.
beginning, is are the insects and the mushrooms the same thing, or are they insectoids with mushrooms with technology?
I don't think they look anything like a mushroom or behave in any way like a mushroom, other than in the sense that they're less conscious than insects and they're as conscious as a mushroom. Like even an insect has like eyes and like can like see that it can like sting other wasps and stuff, right? Like a mushroom doesn't even know that. Like a mushroom literally just has like spores and then it drops spores and then those spores move out and then those spores move out and those spores move out and it's like
Is
it,
that
it can.
a feature that they cannot see, as in like they're blind?
It's not that they're blind. It's that it's a hive mind species that is at its peak as intelligent as a mushroom. So, in other words, like, um, it's not that they can't see; it's that the things that see are not the thing that moves the puppets, and the thing that moves the puppets doesn't identify with the sight. So, in the same way, like God. right? You could say, quote unquote, God sees, right? And he can look through our eyes, but those aren't God's eyes. It's the same thing here. Where like the quote unquote God is just like the mushroom intelligence which feels the desire to expand, and it's now doing that through these insects, technological insectoid creatures.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyways, back to the guy who's gonna fuck up those insects. You got this guy. And so okay, so there's only so really think about it again. This thing is a creature that's built entirely on middle fingers. Oh, I didn't explain this yet. The mouth, it's not a mouth. As in, um, it's not. Okay, so go back to the gharial. A gharial would have um a bottom, top, left, and right. And they would be like flat. You know how like your jaw, like you can like feel the bottom of your jaw and like it's like flat, right? Um, Now imagine if instead, um, imagine if instead you had, imagine if your bottom jaw was replaced with a middle finger. Okay? So you have no jaw, no bottom jaw. You only have bottom middle finger. But you still have all the other mouth features, right? So like you still have your face, you still have everything normal, but you still have like a cheeks, you still have like lips, right? You still have all of that. But the bottom jaw is this weird jointed thing that it makes it where you can open your mouth a lot wider, right? Now, obviously, our cheeks and shit would tear and like it wouldn't be able to handle it. But so now imagine your cheeks are rubber like this guy's are. And so now your bottom jaw is this middle finger, which is capable of opening ridiculously wide. Like, you know, those snakes that can open up their mouth so wide that like it becomes bigger than their throat and they can just like absorb things into their stomach.
Yeah.
That is what the thing that's what this thing is doing. Where like basically now imagine that four jaw thing I was talking about. Now imagine that's four middle fingers. And now imagine how fucking unbelievably terrifying it is to look at that mouth unfurl. It's a giant, it's like that fucking Star Wars thing that Boba Fett falls into in the sand, that like giant like teeth pit. It's like the mouth expands into a giant teeth pit. Like you at
Oh,
one moment you're looking at like a snout, and then the next moment each finger widens up as much as possible. Each finger points in its respective direction. So the top jaw would point straight up, the left jaw would point straight left, the bottom jaw would point straight down, and the right jaw would point straight right. And then that inflatable flesh, right, that one giant cheek that surrounds it would stretch to allow this. And you would get this giant, like, fucking wall of teeth, of these
my first thought is
articulatable.
the Demogorgon.
Yeah, actually, I think that's really close. That's funny. I didn't even think about the Demogorgon making this thing, and that is, I think, ridiculously close. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure this was serving as fucking um, subconscious, uh, cannon fodder, fuel. I don't know what word I'm trying to put here, but
Some archetype.
actually, you know what? I didn't even think of that perfectly. That perfectly represents what I'm talking about. A Venus flytrap. That is what I should have started with. A Venus, imagine a four-sided Venus flytrap. God, that's so perfect. That's exactly what this is. A four-sided Venus flytrap that instead of the way, like, look up a picture of Venus flytrap right now. Imagine it closed, right? Not a Venus flytrap open, but
Yeah.
like a Venus flytrap closed, like a four-sided closed Venus flytrap. That is basically what this mouth looks like if you had the teeth piercing through the skin, piercing through what is currently the sides of the Venus flytrap. But so yeah, that's the basically what this thing looks like. Those like weird straight spikes, if those pierced through the cheeks or the sides of the Venus flytrap, and there were four rows of those Venus flytrap teeth, and that would be basically what we're working with. Um, yeah, weird. So okay, so I guess the way to explain what I'm saying is like, um, imagine a Venus flytrap, but now imagine that it's two Venus flytraps. And now imagine that each Venus flytrap makes an L with its mouth. And now imagine that you place those L's on top of each other so that they become a rectangle. So now you have two Venus flytraps, each Venus flytrap making an L, and then you have those L's placed on top of each other, making a perfect square or a rectangle. And now imagine that it's all connected and that those teeth uh, pierce through the sides of the Venus flytrap, the non-teeth part. That was a little confusing, but
Yeah, I do think
that's
I get the idea.
okay. But so yeah, that's basically what the mouth looks like. And then um, so now, um, yes. So back to what I was explaining before. So remember I was explaining how there's like a moss which produces a rock hard diamond substance over it as armor, but that armor uh needs to let certain nutrients in. So basically what it is that imagine a moss that's got fucking Minecraft diamond armor. But now imagine that Minecraft diamond armor can become soft only if it comes in contact with something that it wants to let through. Right? So imagine you are walking through the forest and then you find this diamond moss. And then you happen to have a vial of softener. And so you pour this softener on this diamond moss. And now what was previously rock hard now becomes, like I said, I don't know if it's like glass or foam. I don't know if it breaks or becomes like actually like malleable, like a pillow. I haven't decided which one yet. But either way, it becomes malleable, right? It becomes tearable and breakable and um most of all, consumable. So what happens is that in the same way a spider will wrap up its prey and then turn the insides to juice before it drinks them out, this species um, spits acid out of its tail so that it can melt down this diamond substance and then consume it. And it doesn't eat it. It's actually not its primary source of sustenance, but it uses that for everything else that it does, right? So let's say you break one of your teeth and you want to regenerate one of your teeth. Well, you got to go find the diamond substance. Let's say um, you're trying to grow larger. Well, then your joints need to grow. Well, guess what? Your joints are made of diamond substance. Let's say you break a joint, you need to repair it. You need diamond substance. Let's say you want to build a house. Let's say you want to build like a shelter away from everything else that can hurt you. Well, you need the diamond substance. And because you can turn it soft and then turn it hard again, these are like fucking Fortnite creatures. These are like building creatures. Because they can consume a large amount in their giant elastic stomach filled with this acid. They can consume a massive amount of this diamond substance and then carry it around and then spit it out later and just wait for it to dry out. And then after it dries out, it'll turn back into diamond. So they've got like a liquid hardening diamond that they can manipulate that's already a part of the natural environment. And so obviously, as I'm sure you already guessed, that's what the teeth, the fingernails, whatever you want to put it, that's what all the purple crystal you see, all the joints, it is made out of that material. So these creatures are extremely dependent on it. And so, like I said, it's not exactly food. They're still predator carnivores. They still eat other creatures for their like actual
So
sustenance.
so they just put it on them? So like you mentioned, like the three crowns on the three horns on their head. Are they all
No, none of those are put on. That's not armor. That grows out of them. The skeleton is grown into them. It's literally like it's not that
So
those
are they primarily, let's say, like they evolved from the blackness and that formed a symbiotic relationship with the purple crystal and that formed.
correct.
Okay.
One biological synthesis, exactly, yes. And so uh I would imagine that these moss have become an extreme problem. Like the moss has also become its own predominant force in the world, not just these creatures. To the point where like you have like large swaths of continents covered by this moss, covered by this diamond, which just builds up over time. So actually, it gets to the point where you have um, like imagine like snow tunnels, right? But like or like ant hills, but like that's what these creatures like to live in because it's safe. You've got like a fucking Minecraft raid wars or whatever the fuck it was called, where they used to build like walls of obsidian. That's what these guys are doing, except they just live straight up in the obsidian and they'll fight in the obsidian and they'll build cultures in the obsidian, and they can come out of they'll come out of it to hunt. But like
Is it
the
easily
obsidian
mineable? How do they get in?
well, it's not to anything else except them because remember, they can just spit their acid on it. That
Right.
acid turn the diamond will suddenly become soft to allow the acid through, and then they can just consume the soft diamonds. And their stomach is also full of the acid, so it'll keep it soft
I
until they
imagine
want to
like
spit it
the
back out. They can
logistical
dry out the
practice
bone.
of that is all right. We got to get our slave lizards out there, and they're gonna just start shooting acid at the tunnels until they break through.
Well, the big thing is that these guys are not the slave lizards. These guys are the primary, predominant creature. Because like I'm at, so like the lizard, our Larry, our boy, right? He is this creature. So like this is the backwater World War I, World War II, World War III planet. These are the creatures that do that. These are the creatures that eventually team up with um the super advanced alien race to fight the insects. So like these are like early humanid creatures, but their entire society takes place on some bizarre diamond moss, maybe even gas planet. I don't know what how would we want to do the planet exactly, but I imagine we want to make the environment extremely harsh. Like Mars, if you had like if you also had warped oceans and uh biodiversity and like this diamond moss as well as environments which grow
Yeah, and
in
something
between.
that's going on the surface where it's an incentive for life to go underground.
Well, with the incentive to go underground is protection. The they come above ground to hunt. So all or like 90% of the other creatures exist also above this diamond moss layer. Um, but this specific species has become so accustomed to it that they use it as their home. Like I guess the literal perfect it's actually insane how many perfect examples there are biologically. It's like I took inspiration from every single other creature on the entire planet. Clownfish, anemones. That's exactly what we're talking about here. It's an environment that nothing else can touch. That they've grown symbiotic to the point where it doesn't damage them. They're allowed to navigate through it, and nothing else can. That's exactly what we're talking about. Is a clownfish-like environment here, and
And what is the material?
and
It's
then
the crystal.
yeah. Yeah, so basically imagine if a clownfish, instead of going through like a shocking thing, if instead it just was able to like phase through diamonds, basically.
Or so if something else, another biological creature, touched the purple crystal, what happens?
It's fine. It's just like hard.
So it's not exactly like. So what is the compare? How
The
do you compare it
comparison
to an
is that
anemone?
it's impenetrable. Like in the same way nothing else can get through an anemone because they'll get shocked. In the same way, no other creature on this planet is even capable of piercing the diamond to come in after them. It's like it's a literal invulnerable. It's like home base and tag or something.
Yeah, yeah. So like that, like they get in there and then they seal it back up.
Yeah, and like they'll fight each other in there. You can still die in there because they'll still kill each other in there,
So
but
so
they're at least safe from
so there's
everything else. Go
massive
ahead.
tunnels of like purple crystal tunnels, and everything is
But
purple
not just
crystal.
not it's not even just that there are tunnels. It's that they can make tunnels if they want, but then they have to spit that crystal back up on land, so that takes time.
Oh, just okay,
But
just tell me like
beyond
what is
that,
like the main character's home? What does his life look like? What is that society like? What is it? Where is it?
imagine like extremely primitive like Game of Thrones era um people, but now imagine that these Game of Thrones era people just have this diamond substance. Like that's the only difference. So like in other words, imagine instead of building a castle, you would just go under the rock into the diamonds and or like I guess go even before Game of Thrones. Although they're more Game of Thrones society esque because I'll explain their communication and stuff later. But they can communicate. They are intelligent. They are self aware. Um, so they're a bit more than caveman. But like imagine like how a caveman would live in a cave. Their homes would be caves. They would go in the caves for safety because nothing else liked to go in a cave because they could do fire, they could see light, nothing else could, right? That's basically what's going on here, where it's like they go in the caves, nothing else really likes to go in the caves, so they're safe in the caves, but then they come out of the caves whenever they need anything that is not in the caves.
Yeah, yeah.
That's basically the same just here. And then other humans can kill you in the cave because other humans also like caves.
Are there
So
other species on this planet similar to them, or is it just other animals, or what?
I have no idea. I haven't decided absolutely any of that yet. We can decide maybe they've got some competition or something else which isn't competition but can also pierce through, and it's just like basically a prey or nothing at all. I don't know. But so, anyways, um, I do want there to be competition on the planet. I want there to be like at least like cow and bee and other such equivalents on this planet above the diamond moss. But so, anyways, I also we should probably add maybe like a natural predator to them that's rare, something like a bear that actually can fuck them up severely. But anyways, so that way they have to be afraid to go. That
Maybe
there's
some.
actually a
Imagine
reason.
like a giant mole bear that also can dig underground, so they're not afraid of the caves.
Well, it's not about fear of the caves. It's just about ability to access them. And the only issue with that is we could do that, but the only issue with making it another creature that can go underground is it de-incentivizes them from living there in the first place. Whereas if you add some creature like a bear that exists above ground, then you now have a reason for why they're so intent on living underground in the first place, and then you also have like a threat. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But so anyways, you have this black balloon skinned diamond integrated finger creature. Okay. And it can so I didn't explain the acid well yet. So another reason, so one of the huge reasons that the stomach is inflatable, it's not just to eat prey. That was a secondary survival trait. The reason that it got the stretchy skin in the first place was to break down the material and to store the acid to break down the material, right? It was to store the stomach acid, store large amounts of stomach acid, and to be able to store large amounts of the diamond material. And then that also just turned into the ability to eat large prey and take large bites out of things and stuff. That's just a secondary factor, though. Like in other words, it evolved those huge lines of teeth and those sharp minor teeth, those sharp, small, precise teeth. And the huge gaping jaw, it evolved the articulation in the jaw and everything. It evolved all of that specifically to be able to eat large amounts of the diamond material quickly and store it in its stomach full of stomach acid and keep it that way. Keep large amounts of it. Like imagine like those there's like a creature which does this with sand, but just imagine like uh I can't remember what the fuck there was some other creature which does something very, very similar. But anyways, the point is that you have the uh black skin, which is inflatable, so that it can store the material and store the acid you need to break down the material. And so, imagine the end of its tail, um, is what sprays it. So in the same way like a snake would have the end of its tail and it's like it gets smaller and more precise. This thing has that, except it's made for shooting this acid. And the reason it gets smaller and more precise, the reason the snake gets smaller as it goes down, is so that it's an extremely small barrel that it can control very precisely. So it can control the amount of acid that it spits out at a time. It's not like it just vomits large quantities of acid. It's like a water gun, a very precise water gun where it can control the size of the barrel at all times and the pressure at which it is expelling this acid, right? So like it's it shoots out like a pressure washer because it wants to shoot the acid far and deep into the crystal. It doesn't just want to wait for it to soak in, right? It wants to be able to quickly shoot a small stream that will then spread out as it soaks out. Because remember, the diamond material wants to consume the the other material. It wants it to spread through it to reach down to the moss. So the snake creature will shoot like a pressure washer like beam that will go deep, and then that will spread out into a larger. Imagine Imagine like a phone book made of paper, and now imagine you shoot a very teeny tiny laser beam in through it. You're gonna get like a large area around the laser beam where the paper just burns, and that's basically what's gonna happen here. Where like it shoots a pressure washer, an extremely high pressure focused beam of acid deep into the diamond, and then that is going to spread out into the area of effect, softening it, and then it can chew through all of that large quantities of that very quickly with its giant articulatable mouth. And so um and so
So
another
what color
important
its
thing to
are
note,
its eyes?
it doesn't have eyes. Well, I was gonna get into that a little later. I was gonna get into that second or third after this, but it's the you remember how I said it's got three spikes on its head
Yeah.
that come off like your ring? Um, So each of those spikes, and every other spike on the body, but those three are the biggest and most important for this process. But like I said, every purple spike that you see protruding from the body, all the elbow covers and all the fingernails, all the teeth and everything, all of those are going to pick up on the screech which is produced from grinding its teeth together. So whenever it opens its mouth and all those teeth are compacted together, it can produce different kinds of screeches in the same way like a violin, right? It's got that like uh uh tooth scratching against string or like
Yeah.
a pick scratching against string. This is like it's both a tooth and a string in the same thing because it gets so minor. And it's like those people who say like when you tap these two crystals together, it's going to create a vibration. It's like that, except it literally is scientifically creating a vibration. And then it's picking up that vibration, bouncing off the walls and stuff. It picks
I
them
mean, it's
back
like
up
we
over the
even have
crystal.
crystals in our phones.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a dolphin or a bat where like they use clicks, but instead it's going to use a consistent screech. I think dolphins maybe it's whatever. The point is, it's going to use a screeching sound, and it's going to use the bouncing of that screeching sound off of walls, to see. It's going to pick that up on all of its crystals as antennas, and it's going to have like a perfect picture of wherever whatever its screech comes back as. Um, and so also that's how they communicate. So, if I wanted to talk to you and I had these teeth, then I would grind specific teeth in specific ways to make specific frequencies that you would understand. So, I find this beautiful. I find this to be I find this to be like the kind of the whole reason I created this creature and like the real nitty-gritty of why this is like a perfect idea for the story is every single sense has been reduced into one thing. The entire creature has like one sense that it perceives everything through. When it communicates, it's communicating through quote unquote music. When it's seeing through quote unquote music. When it's breathing, it's creating this music. Every single the sounds, well, guess what? That is the music. Like the taste, well, that's just going to be the different, like that's literally going to be the same thing as sight, where it's just going to be it's going to like taste the difference in the um signal, right? It's going to it doesn't have a tongue. The creature doesn't have a tongue. Like obviously, fucking imagine how eviscerated that tongue would be with all the fucking needles in its mouth, right? Instead, it just has it just has the sound. Like that's its quote. That is all of this thing's senses. Every single sense that this thing has, is these crystals and the frequencies that go through them. That's all, it's its entire experience of the world. And so that makes so much more sense as to why this guy is going to see thought textures as thought textures. Because imagine if you only had one sense. Of course, thought textures would be thought textures. Like that would be the only option. You know what I mean?
But would he see it in a way that the rest of his species couldn't, or is everyone like it?
He sees it in the same way that like everyone in our human species can say that like emotions exist and like they're seeing thought textures. That's the same thing with his species. Where like his species is probably a lot closer than humans are, but like just because his species understands everything as thought textures better than our species does, doesn't mean that every other person in the species in his lizard species also understands that like that's God. You know what I mean? It's like he has a bit of a more in-depth understanding, but like everyone in a species has to perceive everything as thought textures because they only have one medium through which to perceive, so it must be thought textures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, the only other things of note are um, it looks really similar to a praying mantis mouth actually. Though it's not what I imagined. I imagined I guess just look up the diamond shape. Just those two words and um yeah, I mean, I guess it's literally just like the bottom of every single diamond drawing ever, every single three-dimensional diamond. So like that stereotypical ass like casino diamond, right? You see how it's like four triangles that like perfectly overlap on each other.
What diamond?
Hold on, let me just send you a picture. Any and all of these shapes, any three-dimensional diamond will inherently um
Yeah.
look like this. Just that, where it's like a beak sort of shape, that is this thing's mouth shape. As far as like the fingers will all come together, but then
Yeah.
like the very end of the fingers, you have the same um fingernails, the same tips, right? But they don't have the teeth on the end of them, so it's just like a less pointy, less needly version of the regular teeth, just like triangular fingernails, basically. Um, and so if you imagine the mouth as four fingers, right? So if you just put like your everything but your pinky out straight, you have like kind of what the mouth looks like. Whereas you're gonna be your thumb, your and your other three middle fingers um are all gonna connect, are all gonna touch, and their fingernails are all gonna be in the same spot. That's basically what this thing's mouth looks like. I'll send a picture of that. Hold on. Basically like this. You get that picture?
Yeah.
So that is what the mouth looks like, and then every like crease in my fingers, every like separation point between fingers, that is where the teeth are going to emerge from through the skin, right? So just imagine those four fingers have a layer of elastic skin around them, and the fingernails at the end are all like a beak. So it's got like four beaks that are all come down at the end over its giant expanding mouth, right? You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely see that. And what like does it does the grinding of the teeth, does that make its own noise louder than let's say shrieking, or does it like threaten other species through like screaming?
So I was thinking that this thing should breathe, but not even for oxygen. It breathes to cool off its stomach. So it'll take in massive amounts of oxygen. Its breathing is very loud, I think. And it'll take in massive amounts of oxygen and then breathe it out instantly. And then it's instead of coming out as like CO2 or whatever, it's just going to come out as like extremely hot air. Like if you like put your face like 3 feet above like a campfire or like open an oven and got hit with like that blast of hot air, that's like what its exhale is gonna be like, and it's gonna sound like that, like a blast of hot air coming through teeth. But then on top of that, so that's all other creatures are gonna hear. I think that's all other species are gonna hear. It's just like a loud breathing with the exhale being like almost burning hot air, like maybe literally burning hot air, probably like not like eviscerated, not like dragons, it's not like flames or anything, but it's just like really, really fucking hot air, from cooling down the stomach acid. Um, And so I imagine on every exhale, um, as it's pushing that hot air out, it is also uh grinding its teeth against each other in a way that produces that vibration that I was talking about, that screech. But I don't even imagine other creatures can hear the screech. I don't think like I was thinking about after he meets up with the other aliens and like after his most of his species gets wiped out and he's in like the lunchroom or whatever. I was thinking that like first I was thinking um it was gonna be like deafeningly loud for other people just for him to like look around. And then I was thinking, no, you can just kind of make it supersonic, make it where like no one else can even like hear, um, really hear it. It's just like so high pitched, so vibrational that only his own species can hear it.
It's funny that
Like in
I've
other
been
words,
imagining this creature this whole time, and then you just said imagining him in a cafeteria. It's hard to picture him there.
yeah, but like that's what I love about this. This is what Banks would do. He would like make one of your sympathetic like alien species just like a giant tripod fucking three-mouthed, one-eyed demon and then just make those like cool people. And it was like that was such a fun aesthetic to have. And that's what I want to do here too. So yeah, yeah. So uh this creature um it's got really fast regeneration on its black skin. Um, because as you can imagine, if you're like inflating and stuff like that, that's just gonna tear really easily, and you don't want a tear to be like the end of your ability to like eat. So that stomach skin is both having to deal with a lot of acid and a lot of rips and tears and stuff. It heals ridiculously quickly. Like it's got like borderline fucking Deadpool regeneration. Not actually like not like in other words, imagine like if you got like a relatively deep cut on your finger and then it would be completely healed within 1 to 5 minutes. That's about what I would imagine the skin's like. It's just like injuries aren't really a thing. You just get like temporary lacerations that can like make things leak and that can be annoying and you got to maybe hold it or whatever. But um, it'll be fine within to 60 seconds to 120 seconds, something like that. So, anyways, so so fast regeneration, inflatable skin. Then you have the crystal, which does not regenerate as quickly and serves as every single sense. Every single interaction with the world is done through those crystals. They're the teeth, they're the fingertips, they're the spine covers, or the bones, right? So basically, you've got skin, and then you've got everything else, which is the crystal. And so this is something I have not mentioned yet. This is very important. Um, kind of intuitive, but not exactly. The stomach acid melts its own crystals, okay? And everyone else's. So, the same acid you use to melt walls can melt your fucking head. You gotta be careful. Um, and it doesn't exactly melt your head because it doesn't melt it in the sense that it'll like slop off, but it melts it in the sense that like if I touch one of your crystals with the acid, well then your crystal is going to absorb the acid. Well, first of all, that shit just stopped being a medium for experience. You just got blinded, deafened, all of it at the same time. That thing's now useless for picking up frequencies. And then on top of that, if I hit it, if I smash that or pierce that with one of my teeth, well, I'm gonna rip right the fuck through it. I'm gonna slice it in half. So I can basically, it's like imagine if your skull was diamond. That's great, right? But now imagine if I poured water on that diamond. Now it just like turns into a sponge, and I can just chop your head off with a fucking butter knife.
And so I would
Probably
also
how
imagine that it would
gold.
perhaps we could say it gives it a reason to want to excrete this because if it sits in its body for too long, it'll start melting its insides.
Yes, but the big thing is it doesn't melt the black skin, so it won't technically melt its insides. And the reason its insides aren't being damaged, the reason its bones aren't being damaged, is because there's a layer between. Every time the stomach acid is going to be inside of its body, there's always going to be um a layer of skin between it and its bones, because if not, it'll just destroy the bones. It'll make them so weak they're useless. So um so now these aliens are interesting because you've got their threat. I mean, they're fucking
Wait,
massive threat.
one idea that comes to mind is you said that you can spray acid on the crystals. That's an issue, so headshots would be the thing to go with. So then the first thing I would imagine is that they would wear some type of helmets, but then I would wonder, would the helmets interfere with the communications? And then I would wonder, could you have
Yeah, no,
helmets that
no,
make
they
it better?
can't. No, no, they can't. Well, I mean, maybe you could say technology or whatever, but they start so primitive that no, 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 no. There's no way to do a helmet without There's no way. There's nothing you can do except cover it with skin. And so like most of the bones and stuff, it tries to keep it primarily under skin. Most of the even the like spikes and stuff, they're like like you can see that like it tries to keep a thin layer of skin over it until the point where it pierces out. So like um it's basically it's really dangerous to have exposed crystal, but then also um it's even more dangerous to have an exposed joint. So the crystal is really only ever going to come out of the skin um if it's to protect the joint. That's really the only time the crystal's ever going to come out of the skin. And that's why, whenever you first ask, why do the teeth pierce through its own skin? Like, what is the survival advantage to that? The survival advantage to that is so that other creatures can't destroy your entire mouth and ability to eat and survive by just hitting you with acid once. You have like a skin pouch covering all the teeth that the teeth pierce through, so that it can't reach the root of your teeth, the like base of your teeth. It can't get into your gums and permanently destroy your ability to regrow your teeth. Because if that happens, if like if something was to perhaps pry your one of your jaws open and then spit acid in your mouth, and that acid was to seep into the base of your teeth, and there was to be no skin to protect it from doing that, and then that creature punched you in the face, it's like every single tooth in your mouth just got broken, and we live in an era before wooden teeth exist. Your life's completely over. Um, so that is why there's a layer of skin around the teeth, is because it's crucial that the base of those teeth don't get destroyed.
Oh yeah, yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
and the same thing with the base of every crystal. That's the joint, right? Is you don't want the joints to break, and so you're going to put out crystals to try and protect the joint. But then if the crystals get covered in acid, then you can break the crystals. And if you break the crystals, well, then now the joint's exposed. And if you break the joint, the crystal will never be able to regrow. So that's basically the just for every single piece of its body. Um, when you get down to it, it's not a creature made up of different parts. It's literally just a bunch of middle fingers, and at each joint on the middle finger, you're going to have crystal exposed to cover the joint, and the crystal makes up all the joints, and all the bones, and then all of that is covered with the inflatable skin so that it can both store and protect itself from the acid. So you see how like it's cool. Like it actually like is interesting. It's a compelling villain, actually it's the hero, which is even more interesting because you'd expect this design to be a villain. But it's got a design which is both terrifyingly powerful and also like sensibly weak. Like it's got weaknesses, and the weaknesses make sense, and you could systematically destroy it if you understand those weaknesses, pretty easily. Um, but it's also still horrifyingly offensive. It's like a glass cannon,
I was
literally,
literally
because you
just
can
thinking
shatter it
that.
with glass. And so yeah, that's basically the gist of this creature. And so you can imagine once the insect robots figure out these weaknesses, now you've got fucking unconscious giant cockroaches with fucking acid flamethrowers just covering like seas of these creatures. You know what I mean? Filling tubes, filling ant colonies full of acid. Just so it can walk in with a sledgehammer and dome these bitches.
It would be cool if
So
they first in the conquest used the natural predators on the planet and copied off of them to figure out how to fight them.
yeah, and then eventually they form the super predator, which is the apex of both all of the regular insect traits, the bear traits, and then also the acid spewing and diamond manipulation, so that they just become like just unstoppable. They just become like literally just there's nothing they can even do anymore. It's just they just have to give up, try and run enough underground to maybe wait it out. Um, yeah, that's cool. Good. That is, dude. Actually, imagine. Think about the sci-fi war that we've set up just now, just right now, with no more effort, with no more steps forward. We now have one of the coolest sci-fi alien races I've ever heard of, with these crystalline fucking inflatable acid creatures. You have them fighting a cordyceps technology mushroom insect race. Like, fucking think about the war that's going to take place. And then with that, now you integrate the dynamic of the insect race rapidly evolving with the rapidly incoming technology of the other alien species, and you have like, it's like watching the evolution of an alien world war in 4 times speed. Like, what the fuck? It's so cool.
Yeah,
Such a
and
cool
so
concept.
and then eventually the lizards they get in contact with their own galactic federation. They get
Well,
more
it's not
power.
even that they get in contact with the Galactic Federation. It's the Galactic Federation gets in contact with them. It's like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, yeah. I don't even know how we. I think honestly, we make the Galactic Federation talk to them before the insects ever even touch down. Because if not, I don't think they could really stand a fighting chance. I think they'd be just obliterated almost instantly. So I think that basically they go to about the point of World War II, and then at that point, then the Federation steps in and says, "You need to put every single factory on your entire goddamn planet into manufacturing mode, and you need to start manufacturing this shit." And they give them the recipe to make super guns and lasers and shit and planes and jets and black hole colliders and whatever. And then they're like, "You've got fucking 4 weeks before shit hits the fan. We're gonna be there in 8 months. You're probably not gonna be there in 8 months unless you strap the fuck up." So that's basically the gist. What a cool, like, Trevor, think about how cool everything that I just said was, and then think about the fact that this is like the fucking C plot. Like, this is so far away from even the point of the story, and that this is the kind of shit we got going on. Um, but okay, um, anything else? Did I miss anything else with the biology? In general, just imagine fingers with fingernails, and now imagine. I'm gonna go over all the points again, just one more time. I'm gonna give a full explanation of this creature. Okay. Actually, I'm just gonna draw it in MS Paint shittily while I talk, and then let's show you a picture at the end. Or I guess I can do this. Ooh, that should work actually. Okay, get on Discord. You see this right? Hello.
Yeah, I see it.
This is the bed, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so okay, paint. Okay. Huh. Okay, so You should probably also draw your own version while I do this, so that way I can critique yours and
All right.
see what you thought. I explained it poorly. You drawing yours now?
Yeah, I have it.
Uh, okay. Okay, cool. Okay. Well, assuming that didn't save. You still there?
Yeah.
Check this out. I don't know if I showed you this yet. This shit's pretty sweet. So I got new airsoft guns. That's not important though. They work the same way. Although it
I'm
was
gonna get
cool,
one
like
too.
I got 4 of them for $30.
Really?
Pretty sweet. So, anyways, um, you see that thing over there, which looks like a Israeli soldier?
Uh, the thing on top of the drawer, yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks like a helmet, a military helmet with a strap on the bottom. So basically, did you see where the BBs went? It's like a perfectly shaped human head,
Uh-huh.
literally perfect,
Yeah.
literally as you can see, like, and then all the ammo
Nah.
gets saved. Isn't that awesome?
That's really cool.
Yeah. That's just pretty sweet. So, anyways, I'm pretty sure I lost my drawing. My PC just quit, which is awesome. I just spent the last 25 minutes doing shitty fucking drawings for it to get deleted. So
I
good.
was saying that I got the general idea. You want to see mine?
Yeah.
Okay. So, because I couldn't do a lot of detail, I don't really know how to draw the face exactly, so I gave two different like kind of interpretations.
Dude, you fucking suck at drawing. Do you see mine? Mine was so much better. Jesus, that looks awesome. I fucking wish I could draw. So what did you say? What was your potential criticism? What'd you say?
I didn't know exactly what the face looked like. This was my idea of like it being closed, and this would be my idea of it being opened. I didn't know if that exactly. I kind of got the idea of like if it could, it won't focus. But there's like two different mandibles, two different points
Okay,
right here.
okay,
I'd like
okay.
to
So okay, that looks like it has a bottom and a top. Where are the left and the right jaws?
um. So would you be saying there would be like another one like here, like another point, like another section in here?
Not there. No. Okay. Press your pencil into the. Okay. Move your pencil left. Keep going until I say stop. Stop. Right. Stop. Up. Up. Stop. Okay. Now go straight across
To the left?
to the right. No, that's not straight across. I'm assuming it is to you, but to me it's not. Go like through those teeth. Straight across.
Downwards or
Nope.
right?
Through those teeth. Through those teeth. Right. Nope. Through those teeth.
Down
You're
here?
going like going too high. It's like a downward slope. Yeah, a little less down, a little sharp down, but it is down. A little less sharp. You're doing too sharp.
Am I making an entire motion or am I pointing to a particular point? What am
No,
I?
you're drawing. You're drawing. You're doing what you're doing right now, but just less sharp. Less sharp of an incline. Decline, I mean. No, why you keep
My goodness.
like do exactly what you're doing,
Uh huh.
but don't do with that sharp of a decline. Okay, sharper than that.
So down here.
That's no decline. That's good. That decline. Continue on that decline line.
Yeah.
Yep. Now go all the way. Right there. Okay, now do another one, another line at the bottom. That would be the like other half of that jaw.
Or the bottom down here.
A little higher, I would think. No. I mean, okay, go back to where you started. To where you started. Like a second ago. Yep. Now go left, 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 left. Left. There. Okay. Now go back to the jaw. Touch the jaw with a pencil tip. Okay. Up, right, up, right. Yeah. Stop. Now start drawing. Not there. Where you just
Here.
drew, don't think about that as drawing. Start right there,
Yeah.
and now do the exact same thing you did before.
Downwards.
Okay, wait. Actually, I guess I put in a wrong input there. I thought that's where it would be, but I guess it looks like it'd be a bit lower based on your drawing. It doesn't really matter. Okay, go a bit lower. Lower, 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 lower. There. Okay, now do the thing with the line. Higher, higher. No. Okay, it's a up. This one's an up incline. Okay, less sharp, less sharp, less sharp, less sharp.
Um. So
Less sharp, less sharp, less sharp, less sharp, less sharp.
it is now like straight across. So downwards.
Okay. No. That's good. The one you said was straight. That one's good. I think.
Okay.
I would still say yeah, yeah. That's pretty much good. Yeah. So now imagine the other side has a jaw like that too.
And so this would be its own thing, and then
So now you'd have a layer of skin covering all of that, and then you'd have teeth. God, this is so hard to explain. Jesus. Um. Uh. You didn't get the teeth thing right. I don't know how to explain it. Like the saber tooth thing where the teeth pierce through each other. Four
Oh
jaws,
yeah,
saber
yeah.
tooth teeth.
I did not do that. Uh, so would it
You'd
just
have to
they be
restart.
longer? So it'd be like this one would go down here.
Yeah, just do it with the mouth closed, because I mean, even with a saber tooth, if it opens its mouth, the teeth won't go that far.
Well, yeah, that was I guess that was the closed one down here, which was
There's
it
no
was.
top jaw. It's not closed.
So how would I change this one?
There's no top jaw. Or is there a top jaw there?
So yeah, so like would be
Okay,
like
so then why aren't their teeth also protruding out of the bottom? Because like to me, I just saw that as like just a bottom jaw, no top of the face.
oh I see. I was thinking this was like a closed mouth and this was another closed mouth. But yes, I guess you'd be saying there'd be like another.
No, you just drew like a second mouth.
So where would it be?
Just like imagine a saber-toothed tiger with with just like
Just
buck
down here?
teeth. Yes, just like that. Yes, exactly. Um, yeah, but now instead of like what you did, now take the connecting lines and then make the ones that you just drew connect to the top, and make the other ones connect to the bottom. So those teeth that you just drew,
Uh-huh.
they would connect to the top jaw. They would start at the top jaw. That's where those teeth start.
So down, okay.
There you go. And the other ones would be the opposite.
I just realized I was drawing by looking at my phone instead of looking at the actual piece of paper.
Let me see.
One second. It's kind of a mess now, but
What is it?
it's kind of a mess now, but it's a general idea.
Hold on. Okay. Yeah, that's the just. And now, so now imagine that you have less teeth on each row, but you have an extra left and right row. I don't know how you draw it in 2 to 2 dimensions. I don't think you can. I couldn't. I couldn't
Yeah,
even
it's
start.
facing the wrong angle. I'll leave that up to
Um,
interpretation.
you betcha. But so yeah, so the hands, you drew the hands wrong. The
Yeah,
arms you did really good.
that was I was just needless. I didn't know. I didn't even want to begin that.
Yeah, that it is complex. Okay, so just go ahead and do it. Okay. Not even on that drawing. Um, just draw a karate chopping hand with no fingers, just that like that shape. Just draw an index finger. Go ahead and just draw an index finger. You did like in other words, you just did a top of an index finger, not the whole index finger. No, it'd have like another joint. Like in other words, I know you're gonna go too low. You're gonna go into the drawing, but um, yeah, that's pretty much with your werewolf nails. That would be what an index finger would look like. Um, so um, now draw three fingers coming off, or draw a finger coming off each joint on each side. It can just be a line. It doesn't need to be an actual finger. Um, okay, now make the fingernail sharper.
Like syringe.
No, just shark tooth. That is what every arm ends in. Actually, the only difference is that you would erase the joints. It doesn't have a super articulated hand. The hand is just normal. Like it just like
Like
in other
this
words,
is
just
this
erase the
each
joint.
finger or this each arm?
That is those are fingers, but those are fingers on an arm. Each arm looks like that.
But what about like the three digits going in the opposite direction? Where's
Those are
that?
the fingers. Man. Those are those fingers.
I see.
They wouldn't actually look like lines. They would look like they would have joints and stuff. Like they would look articulated. Okay, so erase the joint marks on the finger you have right now. And now just draw another line on each line you have right now to indicate like a finger, like a bend in a finger, right? Like you draw another line connected to each of those at a slightly different angle to indicate like a finger bend. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Then like erase
Like
it.
no, don't erase it. Just imagine you were drawing a finger, but just stick with those lines that you have right now. And now those are the bottom of a finger. Now draw the top half of a finger on top of those. It's just another line.
Like another one doing this.
Nope, nope.
Say it
Just
again. What?
imagine the lines you already have.
Uh-huh.
So
You
okay.
mean these
First of all, I
lines?
guess
The
erase. No, first of all, erase the retarded fingers. What? No. Redraw everything that you just erased. Dude, this is hilarious how, like, typically our language is close enough that, like, we very rarely misunderstand each other, but somehow with this, it is brutal. Okay. The retarded fingers, the, like, ones that you have at the top that are like wings.
yeah, these.
Yeah, get those out of there. Um, okay. Now, all the fingers that you have remaining, all those lines, imagine they're the bottom half of a finger, and now draw the top half of that finger.
You mean make them longer?
Not yeah, but the point isn't just to make them longer because you don't just want to elongate them. You want to draw the top half at a slightly different angle so that it looks like a bend in a finger, like that. Yes, correct. Not maybe not quite that sharp because a finger wouldn't be quite that sharp, but it doesn't matter. These fingers can bend like that anyways. Um. So yeah. So now, no, that one was weird. No, not that.
That was like a
I guess
curve.
kind of. Yeah, technically, if you drew a joint, like if you made a fat joint point, then yes, the curve would also be correct.
Mhm.
But anyways, just imagine those sticks as fatter, and that is what every arm looks like. Every arm ends in a giant fingernail spike, and then has 3 fingers on each side.
And they, so you know those like hair clamps? Is it kind of
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, very similar to that. If the hair clamp, um, if the hair clamp could bend in both directions, and each individual one was a finger.
So this can bend. Let's say this is like 3D, right? So
Yeah,
it could also bend that way as well.
yeah. Yes, it could curve the exact opposite direction. That would still be fine. So, like, imagine that hand holding a gun, right? It could hold the gun on either side. It wouldn't matter. Would uh, it would just use
Oh,
what is it?
uh, I wonder if it could dual wield. Could have like
Also,
one gun here, one gun
yeah,
there.
they can do a lot more than dual wield. This thing can hold a whole fucking arsenal. But not just that, but the fingernails are customizable. So, like, those big jagged points, right? It can break those off. And so that is actually super useful. So, like, um, right, like, let's say that you want normal fingers, and then you want one finger that's like extremely long, one fingernail that's extremely long, so that you can pull the trigger on a gun, like a sniper or something, right? From far away, right? Well, then it can do that. Or, like, let's say you want all your other fingers to not have nails, or have like super sharp thick nails for slicing, and then you want one finger to have a thin long nail for like carving letters or whatever. Any of that it can do by just using its acid, because remember, uh the acid also makes its own bones weak, so it can also like carve its own bones into blades. It can like um sharpen its own blades. It can dull its own blades. It can break the points off. It can add points. It can have regular fingers, or it can have super long like crystal fingers for a different task. You know what I mean? So its fingers are also customizable. All of the tips are. So the tips are the fingers and the teeth. Both the fingers and the teeth are both tips. They're the same. They're this exact same entity. It's like um just like a small two joint thing ending in a fingernail. Um and so uh that also means that the to prevent acid touching the core of the teeth, um you'll sometimes see them break all of their own teeth off, just so that they can cover everything in skin, and they can't have their teeth be destroyed. So you'll see them break all the points up their own teeth, and then expand their skin, blow up the skin around their teeth, so that they all stay inside of the mouth completely and safe from acid. Um, so that's just another thing to think of, is the crystals can be self-warped for different tasks and stuff. Um, and so um, one more important thing is that look on Discord camera. You see You see this?
Yeah.
This is the right. Fuck. This is the. Jesus. Mouse is hard to see. This is the right jaw. This is the top. God. Or actually, I guess this one will be the left. I hate not being able to see this mouse. This is the right. This is the bottom. See?
The
Top,
camera's not
bottom.
facing it.
Oh, top,
Yeah.
bottom. And then the other ones are left and right. So now, this is this would be a opened mouth. Slightly opened mouth. And so the teeth are gonna look like. that, and there's going to be a ton of them.
All right, and then where would the teeth be on the other jaw?
So keep in mind, this is the right jaw, this is the left jaw, this is the top jaw, this is the bottom jaw. So all four jaws have teeth. These teeth would be pointing straight down. These teeth would be pointing straight up. These teeth would be going this way, and these teeth would be going this way, not top and bottom, but
Yeah,
left and
could you
right.
draw some
So,
more of them?
what do you mean?
Like on the bottom one and the top one, so I can get like a understanding of what it
Well,
looks like.
they're gonna look the same in 2D. You're not gonna be able to see a difference. Like you're not gonna be see. You're like, in other words, like without me explaining it with words, you can't even see that this is the top and this is the bottom. Like you can't even see that on this picture.
Yeah.
Um. So like this is what a mouth looks like closed. This is the important part. Jesus, I don't even know how to draw a closed mouth on any creature. So you see those all those are you see how each one of those is a jaw?
It's not pointing at the other one.
My phone's at 5% too. It's gonna fucking second piece of shit. So you see how like each one of those is a jaw, top,
Yeah.
bottom, left, right. Okay. So if this mouth was closed, then it would look like you couldn't see the individual jaws because it would all be covered in skin, right?
Yeah.
So to you, it would just look like this. You would have the purple fingernails closing at each point. So each one would have a fingernail closing, which would
Uh-huh.
cinch all of this skin together, and then it would be completely closed. But then you would still be able to see the teeth because you would have teeth emerging from. So I'm going to draw the joints. You're going to be able to see the joints here, but you wouldn't be able to see these in actuality. So I'm going to show you the bone structure. It's like an X-ray, right? So this would be like the bone structure of the mouth, right? The mouth is also made out of fingers. I did tell you that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this would be like the bone structure of the mouth, right? You would have um joints here, and then you would have the bones that go out, and then you would have all the little uh places where they meet, which would be like the beaks that you see, right? Um, but then now the question is, how would you be able to see the teeth? So now I'm going to get rid of the X-ray, and so we're going to keep in mind where the X-ray was. Okay, so we're going to go back now, and what we're going to see is the teeth are going to come out like this. These are teeth coming from the bottom jaw. The super exaggerated height, I think. I should probably draw them smaller. These are teeth coming from the bottom jaw. I would imagine that you can kind of see teeth coming from the top jaw because they'd be exiting out of the bottom here. You can kind of see their traces down here. Then you would have teeth that are coming out of the left jaw. So I'm going to X-ray. You would see these teeth would start here, but then they would leave the mouth here. Okay, this one would be a right tooth, and it would start here, but it would leave the mouth here, right? And then you would have a top tooth, which would start about the joint, remember, was here. So it would start here, and then it would go out through the bottom of the mouth like this. And then you would have a bottom joint, which its joint would be right here. So it would come off of that joint, and then it would come out through the top of the jaw like this. So you see, the teeth are literally like a nail through a baseball bat sticking out of the skin of the mouth. But keep in mind, the teeth can pierce everywhere except where the joints are. So the mouth is made up of four of these types of bone structures, and the teeth come off of these bone structures. But whenever the mouth closes, so whenever this gets closer, these teeth cannot intersect with this bone. So instead, they'll go to the left and the right of the bone and pierce through the skin, which is beside the bone. So what it'll look like, because the tooth from this one can't pierce through the bone, it'll just come up through the skin, but it won't actually be colliding with the bone. You see, it'll just go up beside through the skin. It can't collide through the bone. It can't go through the bone. That would be both bad for the joint and also the crystal. It would be extremely hard to crush the crystal against crystal. It isn't going to happen realistically, anyways. So basically, whenever its mouth closes, naturally, because it can move all of its fingers, because or all of its teeth, because its teeth are fingers, and like each individual tooth looks like this. Right? When you imagine that each individual tooth looks like this already, um, that's a joint, right? Then you can understand that whenever the mouth closes and it's trying to avoid its four primary mouth fingers, so it's got four mouth fingers, up, down, left, and right, and the teeth cannot pierce through a mouth finger, but they can pierce through the skin. So what you'll get whenever the mouth closes is you'll just get it'll look like this. From the outside, it'll all just look like a big black snout. So imagine like a dog's face, right? You've got like a dog's head, and then you've got like a snout. Okay? Obviously, shitty dog, shitty snout. But the point is, with this creature, it would also have a jaw here. And then what you'd see is you would see, um, I'll make the skin that's typically black, we'll call it blue for this. So we can see more clearly. So that is the skin, right? Skin fills in, and then what you'll see is you'll see the teeth are only going to pierce through the skin. So they're going to pierce through the skin, 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 and it'll all come out. And like you won't even ever be able to see any of the black, because that's the joints. You won't be able to see the finger bones. All you will see is the skin, which would typically be black, not blue. You would see the skin, and then what you would see on top of the skin, or not on top of, but coming through, not where the joints are, everywhere the joints aren't, you would see teeth piercing through this skin. You see? So like these teeth would be coming from the top, these teeth would be coming from the bottom, these teeth
Camera.
would be coming from the left, pierced through the right skin. But then the whole time, none of those teeth are going to touch that. You see?
Camera.
God damn it, Trevor, you gotta say before now, you fucking idiot.
I said it
What is it?
before, and you didn't do anything.
Well, okay, first of all, obviously say it again. Second of all, I did not hear you.
Um. Yeah. 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 That's wicked.
Yeah, yeah. You betcha. But that was ununderstandable if you didn't watch it as it was happening. But basically, can you? Yeah, that was in frame either. Please. 23% for fuck's sake. Yep. Imagine if you had saber-tooth teeth and they came out on the side of your jaws. And now imagine if you had four jaws. Now imagine when you close them, now all those teeth have to intersect, and it's like a complicated dance of intersecting saber-tooth teeth. And now imagine on top of that, on top of having four jaws and saber-tooth teeth, you have skin connecting all four jaws. So that whenever you close your mouth and these saber-tooth teeth come through on the sides of each individual jaw, they're piercing through skin. So the saber-tooth teeth can never pierce any of the other jaws, because the other jaws are also made out of bone, but they can pierce the skin. So you have like four different points where the skin is pierced by teeth, or like honestly, where it really is four different lines where the teeth won't pierce the skin, because the joints are in the way, and then you have everywhere else where the teeth will. So you have like a porcupine of teeth piercing through skin between joints, um, between fingers, and so yeah. So the teeth come out between the mouth fingers. You have four mouth fingers, and the teeth come out everywhere where a mouth finger is not, and through the skin. And so um, so also keep in mind that this creature can open its mouth. Can open its mouth. No, thank you. No. Can open its mouth like So before we were always discussing it like this, where this would be the mouth, right? That's how we were discussing it before. Keep in mind the mouth can also do this. Because it's fingers. So it's so articulatable that you can literally do that makes it super confusing in 2D. We'll stick with this. Say when you can't see fucking retard. Okay, so imagine you've got your left and your right jaw, right? They would come off like this, I guess, would be how you draw that. Okay. So left, right, top,
Move the camera to the right.
left, right, bottom, top. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is open. This is an open mouth. And so what yet again, I'm going to use blue for skin, even though it's typically black. This is what you would see from the outside. You would just see like a circus tent or like a giant balloon from the outside of thin, translucent-ish black skin, right? And so now none of the teeth are going to be piercing because the mouth is open. So all those teeth that were piercing through here, right? All the teeth that were piercing through, they're now on the inside of the skin vacuum. So if you were to look at this from the front, instead of the side, it would look like, how do you even do though? I don't understand drawing enough to do this. Like, I don't understand how you'd even look at something from the front. I can only do it from the side. Um, well, just look at it this way. When the mouth is open, so like imagine this is open like this, like that one was. Now the teeth look like this. They're just as big. It's just that now they look smaller in comparison because the mouth is fully open. So you have a giant fucking vacuum of skin
Yeah.
around, and then inside you have all four articulation points, and the articulation points are holding up this giant skin flap that's now filled with articulatable, moving, shredding needle teeth. So that's the gist. Um, yep. And so, anyways, like I'm saying, really cool design. Oh, the only other important part is the joints. Remember, I was saying joints are super weak.
Yeah.
So each joint in the mouth finger, every mouth finger, there are 4 mouth fingers. Every mouth finger has a joint. But these joints don't have armor. These are the only joints which don't have armor. Why don't they have armor? Because the mouth needs to be able to open. It needs to be able to spread open like this. It needs to be able to extend massively to consume large amounts. And a spike would prevent. It would begin. So imagine if it was like this, right? And then whenever this arm raised, then that spike would pierce through this, and that wouldn't be good. So what we do instead is we use the teeth piercing through the skin to cover the joints. So if we had a mouth like this and we had teeth, I'm just going to draw the top and the bottom for this. Imagine the left and the right doing the exact same thing.
Move the camera.
So this is the top, this is the bottom. Imagine the left and the right are doing the exact same thing, just flipped on the side. Okay, so what was I going to explain? Oh, this. Okay, so this tooth coming from here is going to cover this joint. This tooth coming from here is going to cover this joint. You see? And so there's actually going to be lots and lots and lots of teeth, and each of them are going to cover a different angle of the tooth because each one's so thin. But so what you're going to get in the end is you're going to get lots of different covers, thin covers at different angles covering the joints. And so that's why the teeth pierce through the skin. So a closed mouth doesn't look like this. doesn't look like that, like you'd think it would. It doesn't look like a closed skin tube with spikes sticking straight out. It actually looks like this. So the teeth initially pierce through like this, but they are then pulled, they're moved because they're articulatable. They move themselves to do, we imagine the white is the joint. Okay? The purple teeth are going to come out of the black skin in a way where they specifically end up covering this white dot, you see? This would be like a left tooth coming through here. This one would be right tooth. This one would be a bottom tooth coming from here. This one would be the sheet. Like all of these different angles of teeth piercing through skin are going to end up individually covering this joint from like that 100 different small angles, you see?
Yeah.
And so every mouth part is like that. So you're going to see, in the end, it's just going to look like one big black tube of skin, and then that big black tube of skin is going to look like a much neater version of this, where it's going to be like just a bunch of intersecting, folding over itself needles like a porcupine coming out of its black skin to protect the joints at each location. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's would they be crisscross as you drew them?
Yeah, but it's not just crisscross up and down. It's crisscross up and down, and then also crisscross left and right, all crisscrossing with each other.
That's like as the mouth curves.
Well, the mouth doesn't necessarily curve as much as it just sort of has fingernails at the end, and then it's got fingers inside, so it doesn't really curve. The mouth, like I said, is like a rectangle. It's like a perfect rectangle, but then it turns into a snout at the end because of the beaks, the purple beaks.
Uh-huh.
Um, so something like this thing. And then you have the teeth. Something like that. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it looks
So anyways, that's the gist. Took me 2 hours to explain that. It's insane. It's retarded. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Jesus. Oh, now we gotta explain a book to Yackers. So Jacques, me and Jacques have been talking lately. Um, I said, he said, bro, between starting meditating again, heartbreak, and going hard at Muay Thai for a couple days, I feel low key psychotic or fluid again. It comes in waves occasionally, especially. I get glimpses of that familiar feeling coming through, genuine human interaction, like talking to my mom after a few months felt like it opened my heart back up. I can feel passion again. I've also started thinking about the shadow self and just remembering everything that happened the last couple of years and trying to connect threads so I can strengthen the crest and neutralize the troughs. Yo, we back. And I said, same thing here. No time, but that spark is finally back. I just need a couple hours to sit down and refine. Glimpses of the best I've felt in months, maybe years. And he says, life feels real again, bro. And I said, ha 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 ha. Ha. And he says, bipolar motherfuckers, which is hilarious because I didn't tell him I got a bipolar diagnosis. I'm sure that's
that's
the one he's
funny.
got. But, um, and he said,
And
no, I don't know. What are you going to say?
he said he was doing Muay Thai for a few days.
Yeah. He said synchronicities are starting to hit too. And I said, this is one. Every time the story updates or the framework updates, in parentheses, they are now the same thing. You always text out of the blue like you have a fucking radar built in your head. It's up to the point where my other cousin Ryan, who doesn't even believe in syncy, says it's bizarre. I don't know whether we are tied to each other or tied to a greater momentum. Trevor's the same bizarre timing as though he has an internal clock that makes our manic seasons sync. Strange stuff. Synchronicities are so gay, mad motherfucking annoying. And he says, our period synced. Which is hilarious. I literally typed that and then deleted it. Which talk about in here. I say, them bitches can only be controlled when you understand that they cannot be controlled. Intelligible explanation. The only time synchronicities ever seem to align with my goals is when I do not attempt to control them and instead just attempt to align with wherever they are going. Any words the ego speaks about their meanings is muddled with subjectivity. The words that take credit for the discoveries are not the part of the brain which makes them, so why ask the words what to do next? And then I said, ha ha. I typed that and then deleted it. And he said, no way, bro. And I said, you read that off my mind, motherfucker. He said, what the fuck, bro? Someone better give me some cool ass armor and a sword soon. Which is such a hilarious jock thing to say. I love shit like that. Um, I said, yeah, if I don't get enchantment soon, I'm gonna be pissed. He said, gotta walk home. I said, them bitches can only be controlled when you understand they cannot be that. He's referencing that one. And then I said, this is where, or he says, this is where every one of my psychotic breaks has descended into selfish egoism. Isn't it the same time of year too? We should call soon. I've been actively trying to limit the commentary in my head. I notice I'll just spew nonsensical jokes and speeches that are opposed to who I am, that cover whatever's below. Just a couple good meditation sessions the woods really set me. One moment birth the next, so cool. I said it's where mind devolve into manic lows. I never go psychotic, but I have months where I praise false idols. I have some bookmark, some image in my head of where I'm supposed to be, some time or feeling that is where I'm trying to get to, some framework that is rotted from the inside out, and yet I cling to it because my ego to run means another defeat. One more abandoned framework means another loss of time, another failure to create anything objectively meaningful. For months, I'm consumed with sickening, violent hate until finally it gets so unbearable I realize the goal was never to escape the misery, never to outrun it. If you attempt to rip it off, it will just eat you faster. It's like quicksand. Instead, you must consume the high points that you crave for months. The longing were not devoid of misery, but fueled by it. Or the high points that you craved for the months of longing were not devoid of misery, but fueled by it. The misery became beautiful, not replaced but converted, not eviscerated, repurposed, only by understanding that misery itself is merely another lever which must be utilized to achieve beauty, another facet of the greater will reaching through you as you towards the be. Oh, Jesus, I wrote this really complicated. I wrote this like fucking Nietzsche, um, without punctualization, so you can't fucking read it. Another facet of the greater will reaching through you as you towards those goddamn gorgeous moments of clarity. When the ego's silly, suffocating whispers distort the clarity and claims it as when the ego's silly, suffocating whispers distort the clarity and its discovery claims it as its discovery. I'm just going to say claims the discovery as its own. You inevitably delve back into the sea of despair. Give up on building a boat, retard. Just ride the current. Go beneath the waves and words and cease to be cast around aimlessly. Become aligned with the water and riptides. Jesus, I'm reading this horrifically. It's not surprising. I'm ridiculously tired, but still. Okay. When the ego's silly, suffocating whispers distort the clarity and claims my God. When the ego's silly, suffocating whispers distort the clarity and claims the discovery as its own, you inevitably delve back into the sea of despair. Give up on building a boat, retard. Just ride the current. Go beneath the waves and words and cease to be cast around aimlessly. Become aligned with the water, and riptides become slingshots and whirlpools become wormholes to the bottom of the ocean. There where chaos compacts upon itself, crushing immensity, continuously compounding and congealing until it ultimately reduces into silence and stillness. In a place like this, movement is so effortless and inexhaustible you can't see how the direction you were going in ever mattered so much in the first place. And then I start responding back to what he was saying. Absolutely ass fuck hilarious. You say it's this time of year. This is the first time me and Trevor realize it's always October. And yes, many such cases. The chatter loves to fill my mind with meaningless slop, ever teetering on the edge of entertaining, just far enough away to make me grasp and fall, only to land 3 hours later. The more often you can step back from the tiny talking tard trapped in the skull, the better. Sadly, he loves to yap. And yes, we need to call before next week. Text me Friday, Saturday, and Sunday too. Anyways, um, he said, "Bet the chatterbox is the devil or the shadow." I don't know. Beautifully written, relatable. Not sure I agree with it all. That night, he says he fumbled the bag with some baddie. He said, um, "I was so weak and unwilling to be a man. I lost this beautiful woman that loved me when I was nothing." Man, his romance adventures. And so the part of that I thought was important was him saying the chatterbox is the devil because I was like of the classic genre mistake. So I said. Be warned, the nature of the chatterbox is to attempt to draw a line between devil and angel when in reality it's all just code and both are merely daemons. The voice who speaks of separates is rarely the one who knows why they are distinct. The devil exists as the unexamined aspects of identification. Through misinterpretation, good intentions become vile actions. It is easy to cast stones at evil people, but usually the ones casting stones do the most harm. The one who sifts beneath the sands at the bottom of the sea does not see difference between the devil and me. The devil will come to you screaming about Satan so that you will rush to commit his misdeeds before you can ask him why you should. I thought that was pretty based. Um, and of course, Shock replies with, I would say I believe in genuine evil. Are you there?
Yeah, yeah. Just contemplating Jock.
You betcha. Um, he says, I noticed a lot of egoic simulations ran during / after I got the spiritual high today. Like I started turning people I loved evil. Well, classic Jacques. Also, last year I got out of that depression by going manic. True. Um, and then yeah, I think that's it. That's all the important stuff.
So yeah, sounds like he's somewhat manic. And is the Muay Thai you mentioned he did some kind of martial arts before, but now he said he's only been doing it for a few days. Has he always been
Well,
doing
Muay
it?
Thai is different. I'm assuming more. He means he's been regularly going to Muay Thai practice, which is different than what he's doing before, which was like jujitsu and shit like that. Just like going to like MMA or whatever. Um, but also he said a few good Muay Thai practices, so I'm assuming he's been in it for like a month and he's finally getting to the point where it's like sparring regularly.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But
cool.
you betcha. But so that's interesting. We need to call him soon. Um, I was supposed to spend today getting the fucking story done, so we could talk about it. The mindset I just spent 8 hours explaining biology to
We
myself, and
get,
then another
if anyone has any questions in chat, we got that covered.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is like if anyone's gonna try and say like there's a plot hole, I'm gonna be like, no, the fuck there is not. Me and my Adderall, we sat around and made sure that there's a biological like explanation for literally every single thing. But my favorite part about that creature is the fact that like all the things tie into it. Like the why do the teeth pierce the skin? Well, because the skin is inflatable. Why is the skin inflatable? To prevent the acid from touching the joints and to store the acid in the stomach. Well, why do the teeth why are there spikes over every joint? If Why are there spikes over every joint but not the teeth joints? Well, the teeth joints don't have spikes because the teeth cover the teeth joints because the spikes would prevent mobility. Why does everywhere else have spikes? Well, everywhere else has spikes to cover the joints. Well, why are the crystals not covering everywhere if they're so powerful? Well, because the crystals being exposed means that they can be exposed to acid, which means that they can be shattered, which is bad. Well, then why are the crystals exposed in the first place? Well, the crystals are exposed so that they can cover the joints because the joints are the point at which the crystals regrow. So it's like every single point of the biology leads into another point of the biology. There's nothing that was like it was created to look cool. It's like it looks cool, it feels awesome, it feels realistic, but then none of it was built to do that. Like all of it was built simply to just make sense biologically. And then as a byproduct of that, you got this like entity which is looks and like for war purposes is going to be fucking insane. Like I was thinking, Trevor, like imagine just like one of the action scenes where like this guy's fighting like a mechanical cockroach, and then he takes like his front. Oh, by the way, I never explained the arm folding. Yeah, the arms do fold in. It's pretty just like fucking imagine arms folding in. I'm not even gonna draw it. You fucking understand. The arms fold in and then it turns into a snake. But imagine a scene where the fucking creature Larry like takes his front giant set of arms and then takes, let's say he has a set of arms with every single finger having a full needle tooth, right? So he's got all 6 fingers, they're grown out fully with the long needle nails, right? So then he just takes the palm of his hand and then presses it up against the cockroach's chest. And then he takes all 6 fingers and then all 6 needle points are now injected into the cockroach, pierced all the way through the cockroach with the palm of the hand, right? And so now he can, because all of the needle teeth, all of those sharpened fingernails are manipulatable, he can literally like in the like ninja fucking or like you know how in like Star Wars they'll use a lightsaber to like cut a hole in a metal door? He can like take all six fingers and all six fingernails and then just rotate the knuckles in a way where he literally cuts a perfect circle out of the cockroach. And then he can just take his bottom jaw and then he can take like three teeth from his bottom jaw and use those to pluck out the cockroach's heart. You know what I mean? Like the levels of like Mortal Kombat oh, and then after he does that, he can just open his mouth to the size of the entire human-sized cockroach insect machine and then just consume it whole. And then you can see it getting vored and dissolved in the fucking stomach acid. Like before it gets shat out as a weapon to dissolve someone else. Like the amount of like actual insane Mortal Kombat gore this thing is going to be capable of is off the fucking charts.
Yeah. That's gonna be cool to see. Cool to write.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome to write. Other than the issue of getting anyone to see what we're talking about, which that's the good thing with like where it's gonna be a YouTube video, not a book, so we can just fucking put in images. Um, but um, but yeah, cool stuff. I think it's about it. I could go into the framework, but it still needs cooking a little bit. Um, Needs like another day.
Yeah, I'm
Hopefully
probably gonna go
tomorrow.
to sleep soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sleep right now. But hopefully I don't spend another day fucking thinking about fucking acythrial's biology, thinking about how often this heart beats per minute tomorrow.
But is there anything else that like
Hopefully.
needs considered for like the world building, like any other designs?
No, it's just oh, one thing I really liked your idea of him getting eaten at the end and then them stealing his framework. But then I love the twist of then the insects just use that as like the one weapon they needed. Like in other words, they integrate individuality, but the mushroom only integrates individuality as just like another way to just like crush everyone. So it's like the mushroom learns to be separate and it learns the benefits of being separate, but it doesn't use them to like make friends and like love everyone. It uses them to like now be an intelligent plague that destroys everyone, which is like so much worse than what it was before. And so
Yeah.
now it's like, and now it's not even like a fair fight. Now it's just like now you have like now it went from like undead like half fungus half insects with built-in machines to like a ginormous intergalactic thinking um there's something specific I'm trying to say. I can't even think of a single word that would describe it, not even just like a particular one. Hold on. Yeah, it's like it's it's happy. Like where before it would kill and it wouldn't even understand it's killing. Now it's like it's killing and it's enjoying killing. You know what I mean? Like it learned individuality and it learned it only to make super soldiers that love to murder.
Yeah, now it has
Um,
a reason to do it. Now it has like passion for it.
yeah, and the passion just makes it better the job in the first place, which is why it integrates the passion. So yeah, that is awesome. And it also displays the maximum efficiency principle really well, where it's like the maximum efficiency principle doesn't mean to like be a good person. It just means to get your job done. And for us, because every person wants
Though
to
with
have a bit of power.
individuality, does it risk that one of them branches off and mutates and then rebels?
Well, yeah, but that was always what we were said with like the Taoist philosophy, and even with ours, is like you can get a Taoist Hitler. It's just hard.
Yeah, but I'm saying like you could have a fungus soldier that because it's an individual, he could choose not to go along with the hive and like do his own thing.
Yeah, that's true. But then the issue is then the rest of the hive instantly eviscerates and reuses his body parts like Lego pieces.
Yeah.
And not just that, but like it's not even like an authoritarian state reading your mind. It's like you were created by the authoritarian state in the first place. You know what I mean? Like it's like you were a robot assembled by the authoritarian state that can read your mind. So you can't even have the thought of rebellion before you're dead. Like the moment your neurons even start firing in that direction, you're already ripped to pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a fucking cool. Like actually think about just like a single fight scene from this. Think about the fact that we're going to be going through multiple world wars of technology and like the span of just a couple years. We're going to be exploring the like in-depth philosophical evolution of a man who's watched all of his principles get like he went from like wanting to protect his home country and freedom to his planet not even existing, and he already in himself is a giant fucking crystal praying mantis finger creature. And now we're exploring the philosophical depths of having his values be undermined while experiencing the trauma of war as we get to sift through hundreds of years of technological progression, and we get to explore the nature of the villain integrating frameworks as well as uh like the villain itself, just the concept of like this fucking super hive insect technological mushroom species that is incapable of thinking until it utilizes thinking as a tool for its non-thinking host. Like that's Trevor, that's fucking the C plot. That's what we've got going on in the C plot. Like, Jesus, it really is like what I always wanted it to be. Where like this really is shaping up to be like magnum opus levels of meta, where you've got like four different layers of stacking on top of each other. Like it's so crazy, so beautiful. Jesus.
Yeah, I just can't wait to
Well,
see it done.
yeah. Well, wait a couple hundred years
Yeah.
till people think after we're dead. Anyways, on that note, I think I'm gonna go and go.
All
Sweet
right.
dreams, brother. Toodaloo.
Good.